All right, Dream Team, are you guys ready? So we are Suresh and Jansi. I work as a director at an IT company.
And this is Jansi here. I did my master's in computers and chose to be an entrepreneur. And we are going to be the host for today's event, Business Building Seminar. And we are super excited for the session.
So let's show some excitement here. I see a lot of registrations from across India, different parts of different states. And I see people from Chennai, Mumbai, and all the metros and all the smaller cities. So let's show some excitement here. I know the chat is not enabled, but there is a way to do it. So look at your chat, Zoom chat, and there'll be a take your mobile and go to menti.com and enter the city where you are from. Would love to see where are you dialing in from, and we'll get started with excitement here. So it's going to be an awesome session. Santosh and Shweta are coming all the way from Dallas, Texas. They are originally from Mumbai, and yeah, I can see that a lot of you guys can see the chat where the menti.com, and then you can enter the location. Where are you from? Okay, before we get started, I will also interview the speakers as we bring up the Menti slide. And so Santosh and Shweta are originally from Mumbai, and Santosh is actually he's a computer engineer by background, and he is into IT management, and they have extraordinary success in their career. In addition, they are building a huge business. And a lot of practical nuggets are going to come tonight, and their journey and how they're, without any business background, how they are able to put a massive enterprise. And you want to talk about Shweta?
Yeah, sure. So Shweta is also coming from Mumbai, and she is also from IT background. And one best thing is they have two loving kids at home, very young. So 5 years old and 5 months old. So you guys are going to hear that their success journey, being having the very young kids and going through so many things, and they are building business very successfully. So we are going to have a awesome session now.
Absolutely, it's going to be a blast. And before we bring on the speakers, this is how you can maximize this event, and just set your mobile phones on silent, and really take your notepad and pen, and during next 3 hours is give your all the attention to Santosh and Shweta, and every single point that can change the way how the business can grow. And let's bring them on. Here you go, Santosh and Shweta.
All right. Thank you so much, Suresh and Jansi, for that warm welcome. Good evening, Dream Team India. We are very excited, very thrilled to get an opportunity to connect and talk to you guys. Of course, it's early morning out here, but I know it's a fantastic evening over there. Excited to connect and share our experiences, share our journey, and of course, hopefully add some value along the way. Okay, but of course, professionally, me and Shweta out here, we work in the IT management field. I've been working now in the corporate IT field in senior project management for close to a little bit over a decade. Shweta works as a business analyst again, pretty much for the same duration. Having a great life professionally. We love what we do, but we've always learned. We've grown up in this business, always knowing and understanding one thing, that from 9 to 5 you make a living. You have you have good things that you can do for yourself with that job, but from 5 to 9 is when you build your life. And a few years back we got a chance to actually exercise that by beginning our entrepreneurship journey. Okay, so Shweta, you want to say a quick hello?
Absolutely. Hello everyone. We're excited to speak to you guys. My name is Shweta. Like you said, we were born and raised in Mumbai, and we're excited to talk to this team in our home country. So we're going to have fun. We're going to share a few things that we've learned along the journey. And in the second half, we're going to come back and share our story. But, we just want to, I was talking to Santosh right before the session. The goal is to have fun. Okay. And we're looking forward to speak to each one of you and connect with each one of you.
All right. I'm sure, with the current trend and the current age after COVID, most of us are working from home. Okay. Some of us are excited about that. Some of us are not so much. But I know, a lot of us are getting excited about remote all along. But still, don't forget, the remote control is in somebody else's hand. Just because we are all remote does not mean that the leash around our neck does not exist. No, it's very much existing, but it is invisible, but it is still there, and the person up above can jerk it anytime. And me and Shweta, we sure are thankful for things getting remote with the current changing times, the way the world is changing to a different style. But that never affected our pursuit to continue our journey of building an asset. That never dampened our excitement and enthusiasm of being an entrepreneur. Okay, so I want you guys to know that we are pretty thrilled to kind of share and talk about different segments. Okay, we're going to kind of walk through different bullet points, different segments today. But I encourage everybody over here to be, to come here with an open mind. Okay, thankfully you're not nowadays with virus. People are so nervous, right? Most of the IT geeks, when they sit in front of a computer, they are actually wearing a mask because they are like, what if a computer virus hits me? So you know what? I understand, but you can wear masks, but mentally keep your mind open. You don't need a mental mask. Okay, come with an open mind. They say your mind is like a parachute. Some of you would have heard about it. It only works when it is open. Okay, if it is not open, it's a crash land right away. Okay, it's like this guy who was trying to learn skydiving from a skydiving professional, and the professional was telling him, you know what, this is what you do. You spread your arms wide open, you keep your mouth closed, enjoy the breeze, and after some time, you got to flip this thing that will keep that get the parachute open. And to that, the guy asked the professional, sir, what if the parachute doesn't open? To which the professional replied, I understand, sir, we have money back guarantee. Okay, I hope nobody is over here for a money back guarantee. And even more, our urge is, I hope everybody is here with an open mind. Okay, you might either be in a selection process, listening to us for the very first time, attending and qualifying for a business building session for the very first time, or you might be a veteran in this business. Okay, you might be at a certain level. You might have been in the business for some time, but as they say, right? Learning from experiences of others always short circuits my journey to reach my finish line. So you know what? Hey, hopefully we are able to cater to different sections of audience in today's webinar. Right from a person who's in the selection process to a newly qualified partner in your first 90-day journey to somebody who's already been seasoned in the business for a few years and beyond. Okay, so hopefully we're able to add some value. Just to kind of go back, when I came to the US to do my master's, that is how I got connected. One of my friends with whom I did my master's with connected me with a team out here. Okay, with a business development team, with a mentorship team, and that's what began my journey to explore, understand, and see how I could fit in, okay, and see how I could qualify in that journey. Because truth be told, guys, me and Shweta come from a middle class family background. What's a middle class family, right? They have the dreams of the rich, but means of the poor. Okay, not the poor, means of the middle class. Okay, so we have high ambitions, big dreams to accomplish, to achieve for ourselves. बट जब आप असलियत देखते हो कि लाइफ में हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज कितने हैं, वो काफी कम है, राइट? करने के लिए तो काफी चीजें हैं करने के लिए, बट व्हेन यू रियली असेस, जब आप सोचते हो कि हम कर क्या सकते हैं बिजनेस के तौर पे, राइट? 9 to 5 जॉब तो है ही, उसको छोड़ नहीं सकते, बट उसके अलावा और शाम के टाइम पे हम कर क्या सकते हैं? व्हेन यू रियली थिंक अबाउट व्हाट एल्स कैन आई डू इन द इवनिंग, there are really not too many options that actually came to our mind. I remember back home in Mumbai, I used to do some, I used to dabble in stocks. Okay. I was on the verge of talking my dad into, hey, you know what, how about we open restaurants? And before I could waste any of his money, he did a smart thing. He shipped me over to the US. Okay. So, I was always looking. Okay. And the reason for that is I might not be prepared for entrepreneurship, but I was always looking. Okay, I remember, choosing engineering as a platform because it would always give me the best ROI, return of time investment for me. You study for a few years, you don't have to study too much, but eventually you can get settled in a job, eventually move up the corporate ladder. It's a relatively comfortable job where you can put that 8 hours and eventually get a professional income. So we were always, all of us over here are either professional students or you come from any other professional career. Most of us human beings, human minds are like plants. Okay, why do I say that? When you really see a plant growing, you don't really need to put it in front of a sunlight. Eventually, the plant will automatically bend in the direction where it gets a sunlight. Human beings are that way. You can be from any background, any field. Very few people really choose a field just because of passion. If you really sit down and be humble and honest with yourself, the field that you are right now in your professional career, is because of the benefits that that career would potentially give you down the line. And you already pre-played this even when you were a student. Sometimes we get bogged down. Oh, I'm passionate about this thing. Can I do this? Or I can only do this thing because I'm very passionate about it. I realized in the race of life, right, to succeed, it's not about passion, but it's about perseverance. It's not about whether I like to do it or no. It's about, am I willing to discipline myself to do something? Why would I discipline myself? Because it's the outcome that drives the process. Right? I love to watch cricket. I can say I'm passionate about cricket, but if you put me in a field, if you put me in a tournament, I don't think I'm going to fare too well. And that's one of the reasons I might not have a passion towards it. I love watching it, but I might not have a passion playing it because, hey, I'm not good at it. Now, who defines the passion? It is a direct function of what I like to do and what I don't like to do. Or rather, my passion is a direct function of how good am I in it or how bad am I in it. Right? When you're learning to play the guitar, when you're first learning to play the guitar, you are curious about how the guitar works. You probably see somebody playing it, you like it, you're curious about it, you start playing the guitar. But let's say after a few learning sessions, you're trying to pull some strings, nothing comes up, no music, right? No music. Your parents tell you, please, can you move to the other room or go to the restroom? Okay, if that thing happens for more than one time, gradually you'll say, I'm not passionate about guitar. But the other person, even if that experience happens, he still continues trying to pull strings. He still continues and learns, perseveres, and stays committed to that effort of learning the guitar. Eventually, from an awkward phase, he's going to move on to a aha phase. He's going to say, wow, I am really getting a hang of it. Finally, some music is coming out of this instrument. And then slowly you build up on that. Then some of your friends, your parents, your relatives say, wow, my son, my friend plays guitar. He plays wonderfully well. He can play any song and any tune you give him. But guys, I want you to understand that is an outcome of the prior trials and failures and experiences that the person has already gone through. Now, the person tells himself that I'm passionate about guitar. No, it was really not passion. It was determination. It was perseverance. When the other guy quit playing the guitar, you still stayed at it. You continued and went through that journey, went through that experience, which is why today you're a pro at guitar. This business is no exception, you folks. Right? क्या मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि मुझे हर चीज एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर करना अच्छा लगता है? आंसर इज नो. पर मैं और श्वेता हम हर चीज क्यों करना चाहते हैं और या फिर करने की कोशिश करते हैं? Because the end goal of what we do is very desirable, right? If you want to go hit the gym, are you really passionate about lifting iron in the gym, getting up in the morning at 5 a.m., skipping breakfast, having a very restricted diet, listening to the coach when you don't feel like listening to him? Are you really passionate about this process, or are you passionate about the six-pack? I hope you're passionate about the destination, the end result. And the end result always drives you. The end result is what will discipline your flesh. The end result is what will drive you to get up in the morning at 5 a.m. The end result is what will drive you to have a restricted diet. Listen to the coach when you don't feel like listening to him and taking his guidance. Why? The end goal is what drives people. So in this business, when me and Shweta were looking to explore and we wanted to do something, we have a good corporate career, but when we were looking to do something, we realized that we are not going to choose a vehicle. We're not going to choose a business because based on क्या हमें ये अच्छा लगता है या हमें बुरा लगता है, क्या हम इसमें क्या क्या ये करने का स्किल सेट हमें है या फिर ये करने की क्षमता हमें नहीं है. This is not going to be the deciding factor. The deciding factor is क्या ये करने से जो हमको मिलेगा वो हमको चाहिए लाइफ में. अगर if the answer for that question is yes, हम करने को बिल्कुल तैयार है. Because at the end of the day, a lot of you guys might be software engineers, right? As the movie Three Idiots says, right? Most of us are not born with a software stamp in our forehead, right? Most of us over here might feel, oh, I'm very passionate about Java. I'm very passionate about coding. Guess what? Probably you were not passionate about that when you were 5 years old. Society eventually trained you to get into engineering. Eventually you learned coding. Eventually you found your first job. And the first couple of years you sucked at coding. But the third year, you became a white collar professional and you knew what you were doing. And then now you tell yourself, I'm very passionate about IT. What am I coming at, folks? Okay. What we're coming at over here is we were very logical and clear about why we chose this network marketing vehicle. Not for the love of it, but for what it could give us down the line. And what this vehicle could give us down the line was a combination of two very powerful things in life. One is time. The other is money. Most people in life are starved, either for time or for money. I have seen that time and again, right? We come from Mumbai. I have a lot of my friends who are daytime stockbrokers. I have a lot of my friends who do real estate. I have a lot of friends who run restaurants. Okay, not a lot. A handful of friends who actually run restaurants over there. But I've seen more often than not, they might have the money if their business succeeds, but they are starved for time. And if a business vehicle down the line, 10 years later, has that in store for me and Shweta probably are not too excited about that. Right? The goal is not how can I make 50, 60,000 rupees per month by working myself for the next 40 years. The goal is how can I work smart for the next 4 or 5 years and build that asset of 60, 70,000 rupees per month that can eventually trump anything that I make full-time, because what I make full-time is still active income. But what I generate out of this project as an asset is purely independent of my activity down the line. It's going to require time and effort as you're building your asset, but eventually it's going to give you the freedom of time and money down the line. So जब हमने सोचा कि हम क्या business कर सकते हैं, right? 3 resources came into our mind, and they were typically the challenges, right? Most people don't have capital to start a business. Second, हम सारे full-time professionals हैं. इस वेबिनार में कुछ ही लोग रहेंगे जो एक्चुअली कह सकते हैं कि मुझे जॉब जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, घर में बहुत सारा पैसा पड़ा है. Very few people would be that way. So if you and me have the need to go to a 9 to 5 job to pay our bills, to put food on the table, lack of time is going to be a challenge, because 9 to 6 तो आप वैसे ही busy हो जॉब का बिजनेस संभालने में, ना कि आपका बिजनेस. Third challenge is not having a mentor, not having a coach. These 3 challenges जब हमने सोचा इसके बारे में, we realized that बहुत कम businesses है that will help me to overcome these 3 challenges and still build an asset part-time without quitting my job, 8 to 10 hours of time commitment on a weekly basis without major capital. And if I impress upon the team and I qualify, I get access to a mentor. Network marketing became one such business model for us. Now, are there people who side mein stocks karte hai? They do a lot of side gigs. Absolutely, yes. But that does not make them an entrepreneur. They are just a side gig hustler, but they are not an entrepreneur. If what I do part-time just gives me enough cash to go make a trip, it's more like a hobby money. But if what I do part-time is eventually helping me to build an asset, That'll eventually give me a professional income. Bare minimum, 3 to 4 years, if you work in a project, at least 50, 60, 70,000 rupees per month. If you're able to create that kind of an asset, that's entrepreneurship. Because that is what gives you choices in life. Shweta.
Absolutely. And I just want to throw a little bit more light on the why part because, I've always read this. People who know the why, people who know the what and how always work for the people who know the why. So if you're here for the first time, or even if you're not, that is one thing that you really want to refocus on. What is every entrepreneur and for you to do anything in life, that purpose is so important. And not just identifying that purpose once, but identifying that purpose again and again. That's the only thing that can keep you going, not just in this, in anything. Okay. Because no matter what you do in life, there's always this phase of initial excitement and doubt and fear, and then steady growth. Right. Some of you, if you're newly married, the first few, initially, of course, before getting married, if it's your courtship period going on, you're excited, right? But then once you start living together, you have disagreements, there's, the wife feels, oh, why is he putting stuff on why is he leaving his socks on the bed? And the husband feels probably, feels, oh, why does she behave in a certain way, right? So that's where the doubt and fear kicks in. You're like, pata nahi, ye maine jo kiya, ye sahi kiya ki nahi. But then eventually you make it work, right? Because your purpose is clear. You want to be with this person for life. You let go of the small things that bother you for the bigger picture, right? And that is what will help you keep going. And it's the same, in this business as well. You want to identify that why. And that why could be, if you're someone who's kind of thinking what it should be, hey, just think of something that your job income cannot provide for. Most of us over here, if we have good jobs, I know we can kind of, live a decent life with our job income. But for me and Santosh, it was like, there are those little choices in life that you can make because of that extra income stream that keeps coming outside of both of our professional job incomes. Like he said, today, both of us, of course, we work right here in Dallas, Texas, in the US, for major banking firms, good jobs. But the third source of income is actually what makes us feel, the job income is great, but the third source of income is what makes us, if there's a recession or depression or no matter what, that gives it a little bit of security. So, and I'm sure it's the same, in India as well, right? So if you're someone who's like, I don't know what my why is, just think of those little things that the extra few thousand rupees can help with on a monthly basis. And then understand there's very few opportunities out there, like he was talking about, that'll help you create that asset income. Because मैं रोज जाके perform करके I can make money, right? But it's special when you have that income stream, when you worked hard for an income stream, which means what? What's an income stream? I work hard for a few years, but then it pays me back. So you build it strong, you build it solid, and then it pays you back. And that is a potential that this business has. Okay, so identify your why, revisit your purpose. And if you have, for most of us, just that income stream would be a good purpose. But let's say, you have different goals in life. You probably want to open a restaurant, or I don't know, something, you want to start your own IT business, an IT consulting firm. All of that is great, but think about how much capital is needed for that. How much of time investment is needed for that, right? So those are some of the things that made me and Santosh, explore a platform like this. Because with 2 full-time jobs and now 2 little kids, there's very few opportunities, actually none, that can help me be an entrepreneur and a working mom at the same time. For most of them, I would have to quit my job, probably keep my kids to the sitter all day, and then, be an entrepreneur. If it was a restaurant, I would have to be at the restaurant physically to make money, right? So just understanding that part and having clarity. क्योंकि कई बार हमको लगता है कि ऑप्शंस तो बहुत सारे हैं, आजकल तो मैं उबर चलाकर भी पैसे बना सकती हूँ, which is fair. But then, in order for you to continue to make money through Uber or some of the other cabs over there, in order for you to make money through that, you have to, आपको हमेशा, you have to get your car out and keep driving. And in Mumbai, I don't want to do that, okay? Because yeah, if some of you are from Mumbai, from Borivali to Churchgate, it's going to take me 3 hours to do that just by car. Same city, right? Here in Dallas, I drive 3 hours, I'm out of Dallas. I go to a different city. In Mumbai, I drive for 4 hours, I'm still in the same city, right? So just having that clarity, guys, there are other options, but none of them give you that flexibility of time, money, and being. And of course, the last one that I wanted to mention was the mentorship. Okay. And then, like I said, if you have a different goal, restaurant or something else, keep it. We're not saying don't have it. Maybe use this business as the vehicle to achieve that goal. Okay. Which means what? You can, for personally, we have some other goals too in life, some bigger goals too. But hey, we want to use this business as the vehicle. So we can, invest certain amount of time and money in it. And, once we're able to build that passive income stream to a level where we want it, then we can take that money and do some other things. Maybe charity is one of your things. Charity is great, but charity begins at home. So, for me to be able to do a lot of, I can do a few thousand rupees here and there. But if I'm seriously looking to make an impact and change somebody's life, it's a lot of money that's required.
Nowadays, charity also happens in office, right? With corporate raises.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's charity. You're right. And it doesn't happen all the time. So, yeah. so it's just having that clarity, guys. And then, of course, the last thing I wanted to touch upon is mentorship. So there could be other opportunities, but none of them will give you access to the mentorship program, mentorship and guidance that a platform like this can provide. Okay. See, these days, right? Offices, corporate culture has this thing. They assign you mentors at your job. Especially if you're a new employee, you're a fresher, and they're like, "Hey, this person is your assigned mentor," and you have these monthly huddles with that person. And well, nothing wrong with that. I think that's great if companies are tending towards that. But think about it. That mentor is only interested in mentoring you on how you can climb the corporate ladder, pretty much. Okay. Maybe, once in a while they might listen to your problems here and there, personal problems. But do you really think they are vested in helping you succeed and get out of that problem? Not really. It's more like a book. You read a book. You get solutions, but the book is not going to help you back. Right? So maybe they probably will give you a solution here and there, but that's it. Because it's just a job for them. It's not like the founder of the company is coming and mentoring you. It's just a job for them. So don't confuse that mentorship with the mentorship that you get access to in this business. In this business, the mentorship, we've been so blessed and privileged to have access to the mentorship that we have in this opportunity, because they have a vested interest in our growth. Which means what? When we grow, they grow. So it's not a job for them. They have their skin in the game, right? And that's a terrific deal. That's a terrific partnership, because I know someone always has my back, right? So just understanding that. And so yeah, and there was I read this somewhere. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out your why. So make sure you go and revisit that if you don't have one. We're proud of you for being here, for thinking different, and for wanting to do something more out of life. Because most average people, I'll tell you what, most average people, they see things the way they are and they ask why. But people who want a little bit extra, they see things, or dreamers and people who are ambitious, they see things the way they can be and ask why not. Okay? So go ahead and identify that. Make sure you have it very clear. We are going to walk you through some concepts today, but this purpose is something that you want to have clarity on throughout.
And to take it forward from that point, guys, now talking about network marketing, it's a vast industry, right? Network marketing is a massive industry. It's just like any other industry. But when me and Shweta were going through a selection process a few years back, we had to understand and realize that there are amateurs in an industry, and there are also professional societies that build that industry. राइट काफी लोग आप में से काफी लोगों ने मल्टी लेवल मार्केटिंग का नाम सुना रहेगा राइट गुड इंडस्ट्री बट इट्स प्राइमरली ड्रिवन ऑफ ऑफ टू main concepts. One is recruitment, second is sales. And I realized early on, if a business is heavily only sales driven, there is no leadership, there is no mentorship, there is no value added, and it's primarily sales driven business. Today it's going to be an active income for me, tomorrow again it's going to be an active income. Because even if you build a network and have your network sell products every single day, you probably can push that for 1 month or 2 months, but the third month that's going to stop. Your network is going to stop selling, and guess what? Now it's a revolving door for you. You have to again find and build some other network and now train them to sell. Why? Because selling is not something where I can derive value and build an asset off of. Right? Selling, every entrepreneur sells. Don't take me wrong. Every company sells. Right? Every company works for its client base. So sales is always a part and parcel of business, but that cannot be the solo modus operandi of your business model. So क्या हमने देखा था मल्टी लेवल मार्केटिंग पहले? बिल्कुल देखा था हमने. In fact, my parents were a part of it back home in India, and of course, I used to love the products that they used to use, but eventually I realized it's not a scalable business. You cannot scale by marketing a product to somebody else. You can make a quick buck. आज थोड़े पैसे बनाए marketing करके, कल दोबारा पैसे बनाने हैं तो वापस you have to go and market. And we realized that. So the switch was, how can I leverage network marketing business with the help of a social commerce business model? Network marketing industry with a social commerce business model. And that's very important to understand. What do I mean by that? See, the whole world is going online, right? We are in the, AC era, after COVID era right now. The whole world is going online. The whole world is going social media. मेरा सवाल आपसे यह है कि आप जो भी बिजनेस कर रहे हो, एक पहला चीज तो ऑनलाइन कर रहे हो कि नहीं? अगर नहीं कर रहे हो तो यू स्टैंड द रिस्क ऑफ बीइंग अ डायनासोर डाउन द लाइन. दूसरा सवाल, जो भी आप ऑनलाइन कर रहे हो, are you able to make it scalable? Is your website that you're doing online, is it even recognized globally by other partners, or it's just a cute website that you have? आज के टाइम पे, e-commerce के टाइम पे, राइट, Wix.com को लेके तो आप कोई भी वेबसाइट बना सकता है. सवाल ये नहीं कि आपका वेबसाइट है कि नहीं, मेरा वेबसाइट है कि नहीं. सवाल ये है कि उस वेबसाइट में किस तरह का ट्रैफिक जनरेट हो रहा है. What kind of traffic is being generated from that website? If there is no traffic and it's just me and my cute picture over there, it's a nice cute website, but what is the scalability? So we realized one thing in network marketing, it has to be an online social commerce business model. Second thing, it has to be a global framework. ऐसे नहीं कि किसी ने 2-3 साल पहले कुछ कंपनी शुरू करा और फिर we are just trying to invent some new products for that company. And we are trying to hope and pray that the company succeeds, because business models like those are very fragile. A lot of times people fall prey to this flashy object syndrome. Flashy object syndrome का मतलब क्या है? People, some people they just want to see for some nice shiny object from a long distance and run to chase it. It's like a kid. We have a 5-year-old. He has a flashy object syndrome. Whenever he goes to a toy store, suddenly the flashy object syndrome takes over the best of him.
He has car object syndrome.
Exactly. Pretty soon we're going to open a car showroom in our house only in the garage. Exactly. Right? That's such a boy. Typical. But if you look at it, right, as adults, hopefully you and me don't have a flashy object syndrome. यार ये चीज कभी पहले सुना नहीं है, ये बड़ा बढ़िया लग रहा है, इसको करते हैं. उल्टा होना चाहिए. The algorithm should be reversed. ये चीज पहले कभी सुना ही नहीं है यार, पता नहीं काम करेगा कि नहीं. That should be the way of thinking. Me and Shweta are more excited about working with companies that even my grandfather would have heard about. Why? That tells me that my grandchildren would also hear about the same company. That is what gives security for my business, not something flashy new out there. Okay, and that's why I leave the invention part to invest to inventors. Right? I'm so happy for the Flipkart CEO, Tesla CEO to come up with great products, great e-commerce websites. More power to them. But for me and Shweta, as an entrepreneur, to leverage a network marketing industry, social commerce business model, my thought process is how can I leverage an existing trend and create an asset and wealth out of it? Not how can I invent something new? Because the chances of inventing something new and succeeding is as good as you being struck by lightning tomorrow. It's very less. It's very competitive out there. So if you look, coming back to the point, right? Sari dunya, the whole world is going online right now. So what is your game plan? What's my game plan to be online? I have to be part of a global framework that will give me a website, and that website has to be globally recognized. Second, that website should be partnered with a lot of partners, not just locally in India, but also internationally. Why? Because I might be in India, I might be in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Delhi, Bangalore, who cares? But is my business scalable? मैं बंबई में रह के यूएस में बिल्ड करने का सोच सकता हूँ. मैं बंबई में रह के can I start building a business in Bangalore? Can I do it in Hyderabad while I'm physically located in Mumbai? That's the question you got to ask. That's the second question that we learn to ask. If the answer for that is no, that means it's a cute website, but it is not scalable. Okay. And the third is, am I able to duplicate myself online? Right? जो कुछ skills मैं सीख रहा हूँ, जो कुछ skills हम सीख रहे हैं, can I learn those skills and not just be a magician myself? Can I duplicate and have other people learn the same skill so they are empowered to do the same thing that I'm doing? Most S-quadrant businesses, they also build a network. But a restaurant owner builds a network of employees, he builds a network of customers. But B-quadrant people, the main difference is they are also building a network, but they are building a network of partners. They believe more in having a board of directors rather than having employees work for them. Which means what? Mentally, they are thinking, how can I share my stakes with another person? How can I profit share with another person? Smart thing to do over there is when I profit share, I divide the onus of building the business. Now, everything does not rely on me. I am not the one and only magic in the business. And that always helps me to down the line build an asset that is not just mutually beneficial, but also can be scaled outside of my local city or state. Hence, if you look at, there are a lot of companies, right, in network marketing, बड़े सारे companies हैं. India में तो बड़े सारे companies हैं, right? When we were in India, we heard a lot about these companies. So when we heard network marketing, it was not something new. राइट हम बंबई में कितनी बारी हमने सुना है काफी कंपनीज के बारे में, बट सवाल ये नहीं उठता है कि डू यू नो व्हाट नेटवर्क मार्केटिंग इज और हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट इट. सवाल ये है कि आपने उस इंडस्ट्री के बारे में हैव यू रिसर्च्ड ऑन इट, हैव यू स्टडीड इट, राइट? बिकॉज समबडी हु इज अ मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर, फॉर हिम one person can be an IT project manager, other person can be a software engineer, but उसको क्या लगता है सारे कंप्यूटर कीबोर्ड में बस कुछ ना कुछ टाइप करते रहते हैं. For him, a project manager and a software developer, they are nothing but glorified typists. Why? Not because he's not smart, he's just ill-informed about the IT domain. People who don't understand professional network marketing, people who don't understand leadership, how to leverage mentorship and build a network asset in network marketing are exactly like that person who's a mechanical engineer who boxes everybody into glorified typists, right? People who don't understand a model like network marketing, how to build it professionally, most people think, अरे हाँ ये तो यार सोप साबुन बेचना है, इसमें कौन से प्रोडक्ट बेचना है, मैंने पहले भी करा है इंडिया में, ये इस टाइम पे मैंने मेरे रिलेटिव या दोस्त ने एक्सपोज करा था मुझे, मैंने कराया, कुछ ट्राई कराया, बट कुछ दाल नहीं गली उसमें. Why do you feel like that? Because you were probably exposed to it from maybe an amateur community. Just because my prior experience was not profitable or successful Should I blame the industry or should I blame the amateur community that exposed me to that industry? The question is not what is network marketing. Question is, how are you looking at it? What pair of lens are you using to look at network marketing? It's very important to be understood. Okay. Now, in this framework, there are a lot of companies in network marketing, but one of the top companies, which is right now number one globally, founded, of course, in the United States in Detroit, Michigan, but has a huge expanse in India, China, Australia, and several other countries. Right now, it's in 110 countries. Is Amway Global? Okay. So if you and a lot of you guys have already probably looked at the stats. Okay. If you look at it, it's right now the number one direct selling company in the world. Okay, and when I mean number one, that's a big feat. Okay, if you guys see the screen now, it's a top-notch company. It's ranked by Forbes as the top 50 most profitable privately held companies in the world. $8.9 billion right now. Currently, the latest sales is $8.9 billion. It's close to 2,000 plus crore. Now, if you look at the turnover of Amway in India, Amway India itself can put behind a lot of top IT companies in India. Because I don't want to name any companies, but there are a lot of IT companies that you and me know with the first name, but their turnover is lesser than Amway's turnover in India alone. So I want you guys to understand that, okay? The signature of any company is not how well it's doing today. It's about how well it's going to be doing 10 years later, 20 years later. And what's the litmus test? What's the proof of that? How many patents does the company own? Does that company really have its own patents and patent pending? Amway has, as you see, 800 plus of them, right? I know there are some PhD friends over here. You guys feel excited about having a couple of patents, right, up your sleeve, which is great. But as a company, having 800 plus patents is a major feat. Okay. And that talks about security, stability, and how robust the company is in the daily use products category. Right? Why is Amway growing so fast? Because it has world-class products globally. For the last 8-9 years consecutively, it has been growing in its annual turnover. Second thing, it makes products for the society. It's a company with a conscience. There are a lot of companies that make products to create profit. Amway, from our knowledge and experience, we've been using these products for our household, for ourselves, for our kids, for our parents for so many years now. And we can proudly say that this is a company with a conscience. It makes products to truly add value to the human society. And anybody else who has used products of Amway can vouch for it. Matter of fact, if you are not a part of the business project, but you've still used products of Amway, should tell you how big and widespread the company is. And as I told you, I would rather bet on a business with a company that my grandfather has heard about rather than talking and betting my business on a company where nobody's heard about. Okay. So this company gives a major platform. If you look at credibility, there are some top endorsers, as you see Mirabai, okay, a 2020 Olympian weightlifter from India, endorsing Neutralite. Now she is an Olympic level weightlifter, folks. Okay. If she has to, associate her name with a brand, it better be good. Okay. One of the most celebrated actors in India today endorses Neutralite, and that's a big statement. Okay, I want you to understand these are big people. These are their first names and last names earn crores of rupees in India. Okay, so if they associate their name, there better be value. And I would rather take what these people talk about the brand rather than maybe what my cousin or neighbor who might not have enough knowledge about the products or have not probably used any products tell me about what the brand is. Okay. So now, alongside, Amway is a big company, but there has to be a partner. And this is what separates a lot of network marketing businesses from the one that we are talking about. कहने के लिए तो बहुत सारी कंपनीज हैं जो आपको और हमको बिजनेस प्लेटफॉर्म देती है नेटवर्क बनाने के लिए. बट अगर आपके साथ इफ यू डोंट हैव अ मेंटरशिप पार्टनर एसोसिएटेड विथ यू, अगर आपके साथ पार्टनरशिप में ऐसी कोई कंपनी नहीं है जो लोगों को ट्रेन कर सके, लोगों की स्किल्स बेहतर कर सके, help people develop leadership, and eventually help people to build networks, आपका business typically local रह जाएगा. आपका business typically आपके city और आपके state से बाहर नहीं जा पाएगा. जब आपका network खाली आपके शहर में है, let's say you live in Hyderabad and you have a network of 5 partners in Hyderabad, that's fine because you're physically there. But eventually, as your business network grows to Bangalore, Mumbai, and eventually to different states, if you do not have a mentorship partner, you will just be left with using products, selling products, and not being able to scale your business too much because there is no platform to build and empower leaders in the team. Right? Right. I heard this earlier on. I have a business degree as well. When you get your MBA and you get a job, you might become a manager. But in your job, if you're a manager, people listen to you because they have to. They don't have a choice. Because if they don't listen to you, they know the consequence. So they listen to you. But in the world of business, especially a leadership-driven business that we are talking about, it's about leadership, not management, where people will listen to you only if they want to. And that's a voluntary army that you're building. And hence, leadership skills are very important. And hence, having a mentorship partner that will help us develop these skills through audios, podcasts, books, business conferences is very, very vital. Right? In fact, this session is right now a brainchild of Dream Team Leadership. And this is a massive company on a global scale that actually empowers, helps a lot of entrepreneurs. India, US, Australia, and on a global level to develop the same uniformity of skill set, mindset, thought process, and ability to build networks. How great is it to actually work and build a business team that spans continents, that spans time zones? But today, we have a growing team in India, but the way they operate, the way they think is very similar to how a lot of leaders think and operate. Successful leaders think and operate in India, in the US, Australia, and globally. It's the same chain of thought that can only be accomplished with Dream Team Leadership. And I'll tell you what, of course, we have a bachelor's degree, I have a master's degree, couple of master's degree, but I realized that, the education that I have learned through Dream Team Leadership in people development, working with people, conflict resolution, bringing out the best in people, a lot of these skills is today way more valuable for me, not just to build my business, but also to grow in corporate, is way more valuable for me than prior, 12, 13, 14 years of education. Okay. I hope you guys understand that part. Okay. So Amway और ड्रीम टीम लीडरशिप, ये 2 कंपनीज है जिनके पार्टनरशिप के साथ आप अपना बिजनेस बिल्ड कर सकते हो. If you're a qualified partner over here, or if you're going through a selection process, I want you to understand, if you qualify, you will not be working for Amway or you're not working for Dream Team Leadership. This is an independent business platform where I leverage these 2 companies. Amway.com gives me cutting edge products and services, home care, healthcare, cosmetics. You saw the brand ambassadors. Best quality products. It gives me a website. It gives me the IT infrastructure, tech support. I don't have to invent a platform, right? This is not Wix.com. This is a global domain that Amway.com gives me, right? They say if I'm short in height, I would rather stand on the shoulder of a giant and shoot. My question to you is, who's your giant in your life? Is it a company that's a giant? Do you have a coach who's a giant? Right? Hey, do you have a giant to leverage in your life? Right? A lot of us have our giants as celebrities in television, sportsperson in television. Unfortunately, they're never going to come and shake hands with us to help build our business. We will only end up clapping for them most of our lives. But do you have a giant in your life that's willing to partner up with you, shake hands, extend their hand to you, invest their time from their life, into your business to help you progress? I hope you identify that giant in your life. Okay, for us, it was our coaches and Amway and Dream Team Leadership that are 2 primary partners with the help of which we build our business. Okay, so as we talk about Amway and Dream Team Leadership, if you're going through a selection process, you might have some questions in your mind. Yes, okay, Amway is a rock solid company. Understood. Dream Team Leadership It's a mentorship partner, helps a business owner to build a business. That's great. But the focus is, hey, what do you want to do? अगर आपको मैंने नाव में बिठाया, right? अगर मैंने आपको नाव में बिठाया, आपके पास 2 oars है. You have 2 oars. You are sitting on a boat. You have 2 oars. If I take 1 oar away from you, and you just have to paddle just 1 oar, आपका नाव कौन सा डायरेक्शन में जाएगा? Which direction will your boat go in? It will potentially go in circles. It will not go in a straight line because you just have 1 oar. But the minute I hand you the second oar, and if you know how to paddle it synchronously, आपका नाव आगे बढ़ेगा. Your boat will actually move further. So again, the question is, Amway, Dream Team Leadership are rock solid companies. They have worked for so many professionals, independent of caste, culture, religion, country, background, ethnicity. It has worked for people all across. सवाल ये नहीं है कि ये बिजनेस मेरे लिए काम करेगा कि नहीं. सवाल ये है कि आप में क्या क्षमता है. What are you going to bring to the table? How are you going to make this vehicle work for you if you qualify? What efforts are you doing to make this vehicle a success in your life? Okay, so who I'm connecting now. As you're going through it, you might have some questions. If you're a new partner or if you're going through a selection process, you might have some frequent questions coming in your mind, and we can throw some light on that as well.
Absolutely. And you said, right, in your journey of going through the process yourself, or if you're taking someone through the process, if you're sharing, when I say taking through the process, if you're sharing this opportunity with someone, there's just a few set of questions that you have to get good at to be able to effectively. Some of us probably, we are not taking someone through the process, but we have those questions ourselves. Okay, so it's just a few of them, 3 to 5 questions. If you can master these, and if you have clarity on these, you can effectively lead people. See, every business has this FAQ page. Every business, every big business, even Amazon.com, right? They have an FAQ page. And what kind of questions does the FAQ page have? How much does a shipping cost? How much does international shipping cost? What is a money back guarantee? What if I don't like the product? Things like that. And they have all those things answered over there. And you know why they do that? Because they know if they don't put this together, if they don't answer these frequently asked questions, a lot of people might be skeptical of using their website. So they just put together an FAQ page. So what's the FAQ page for your business? Right? And like I said, just a couple of questions. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. So you see that, right? You guys see it? Okay, cool. So, a couple of them. And I'm sure, like I said, if nobody else has asked you, probably you have some of these. Let's say, the first one that you see, I'm too busy. Well, in today's day and age, a lot of people think being busy is kind of a status symbol. Right? They think that just because they have a busy calendar, they're more important. But I was watching this video from Indra Nui, the CEO of PepsiCo, and she was saying being busy is not being important. It's what you do with those busy hours. A 5-year-old is busy too. I have a 5-month-old baby. He's busy too. And he keeps us busy. Right? So everybody is busy. It's what you do with that time. The first thing you want to do is you have to, you want to get clarity yourself. See, it's okay to be confused. I feel like confusion is the root to all the clarity in the world. It's okay to be confused. But now just make sure you seek those answers. Okay? So everybody is busy, but then we talk about how do you prioritize that time? What do you do with your time? What are you busy doing? Right? Are you busy watching Hotstar or Netflix or, attending a lot of weekend parties and gatherings, just doing stuff that's not really productive and it's not taking you where you want to be in life. then that busy is not really making someone important, right? So just understanding how to prioritize your time. We can only manage our priorities. We cannot manage our time. Everybody has the same 24 hours. Elon Musk has 24 hours. You and me have 24 hours. It's what you do with those 24 hours. Okay. So just having that perspective, any successful entrepreneur, they choose to add good to their mind in those 24 hours. They choose to educate themselves. They'll choose to listen to some positive podcasts, read some books that can help them grow. In this business, we choose to leverage the mentorship and invest our time. We cut out some of that junk time that I was talking about, maybe watching Hotstar or Netflix or whatever it is. And we choose to invest it into growing our business, into sharing this opportunity, in growing our network, into growing our volume. Okay. So I hope that takes care of that. If anybody over here, if you're a student or a professional, and if you feel like you're really, really tight for time, just understand, if you just sit down and identify what you do on a daily basis, you will be able to identify so many time needs. And personally, for me and Santosh, it's very simple. We choose to invest our time into doing things that can help us be where we want to be 5 years from now. Any activity that we do, if it's not going to help us get there, then probably that's not so important. Right? So important versus urgent. Most of us are just focusing on the urgent things. Oh, I got to take care of the bills. I got to do this. I got to go to this class. Urgent things. We're just running from one urgent thing to another. But if you really want to be intentional about your future, you got to start focusing on what's important and start moving from one important thing to another. Okay. And then, maybe some people, sometimes we think maybe I need a certain kind of skill, maybe a sales skill or a marketing skill, right? Maybe I have to learn to sell some products or market. Well, it's like this, in the last almost an hour that we have been talking to you guys, we never tried to sell your product. We never tried to convince you to buy a product. And I'm sure when you share this opportunity with someone, you're not selling them a product or convincing them to buy a product when you're sharing the opportunity, right? So understanding these little things, and the way we like to put it across is, of course, we were partnered with a bunch of companies that have, a lot of top quality products and services. And we learn how to use these products and services ourselves for our families. And we teach others on the network to do the same. But if someone has loves selling, if they have that skill, there is a beautiful platform to help them succeed as well in sales. So it's really up to you how you choose to put the pieces together. Okay. But what you're looking for is you cannot build a big business with active income with just sales skills. You're looking to grow teams here. You're looking to empower teams here. You're looking to empower people here. And that is where, I was talking about, you need to first add that value to yourself. I read this in a book. When you influence or empower one person, or when you influence or empower people, you're not just empowering those people, you're empowering the people that those people will influence. And that's how this business is put together, right? So that, and then of course, if somebody has friends and family that are not supportive, or maybe it's just not their priority right now, that's completely okay. Today, none of our friends and none of our family is in the business. And maybe they were not supportive as well. But if you think about it, right, that's not how, when I open a restaurant, अगर आप एक restaurant खोलते हो, तो उसमें क्या आप wait करते हो कि सिर्फ आपकी family आकर खाना खाए वहां पर? I hope not. I want others to come. That's the only way my restaurant will run, is when I have people who are not my family come in and eat at my restaurant, right?
When family comes and eats, they don't pay you.
Exactly, right? So you don't make money out of that anyway. So just understand that. It's nothing unusual. Our business is no different. Well, the only way it is different is it gives you more, it gives you that mentorship, access to mentorship and coaching and all of that. So it's different in a good way. But if you compare it to another conventional business, this business is very simple. But if you compare it to your job, everything is going to be a torture. Every single question is going to bother you. Because when you are comparing it to your job, you're still thinking like an employee. आप अभी भी सोच रहे हो कि मैं अगर 8 घंटे काम करूंगी तो मुझे इतने पैसे मिलने चाहिए. But that's not how businesses work. Right? So being okay with your friends and family, not agreeing with you. Because there's a lot of people out there eventually that are going to be a part of your network, that are ambitious, that are open-minded, and they are driven just like you. And they want to do something big in life as well. And they will be a part of your network. Okay, so don't let those few people that you knew before joining this business change your decision about what you want to do with this business. It was your decision, remember? And it's like this, every time I've seen sometimes, when people, they go through, let's say, every time, let's say they're talking to someone, they're sharing this opportunity, they keep reacting to everything. Thank you, Santosh. They keep reacting to everything. Friends ne na bola, they're reacting. Okay. Family said, what are you doing? Wasting your time, they're reacting. Somebody says this does not work, they're reacting. Hey, somebody says you're wasting your time, they're reacting. They're just reacting. Maybe not on the surface, but inside they're just reacting all the time. And what happens when you react so much, right? It's like this can of soda. Of course, this is excess from my own business. I love it. But it's like this can of soda. You're reacting, you're boiling and bubbling inside. Whenever somebody's giving you any kind of negative, you're reacting. And then eventually one day what happens? I just got to be careful here. Right? It's gonna, you heard that fizz, right? You heard that fizz. I was just super careful because right now, it would have spilled all over.
Effervescence.
Yeah, you heard that fizz, right? The more you react, the more of that is going to come out, right? But then, how do you want to be? When you're an entrepreneur or any successful entrepreneur.
Yeah. Are people around you afraid when I want to effervesce out and, are they worried about the fizz around you or?
Yeah, or you could be like this bottle of water, perfect water, okay? People say, no, this does not work. Family giving you a hard time. You're wasting your time. You're not taking care of your kids. What are you doing as a mother? You focus on your family. Don't waste your time and all of this stuff. This is CO2, just like that can of soda. But when I open, nothing happens, right? So are you like that can of soda or are you like this bottle of perfect water? This is how you respond. And that's how you react, okay? So just be okay. Just be okay when people give you all of that. As long as your purpose is clear. Remember I spoke about purpose? As long as your purpose is clear, you will be fine. Okay? And don't react. You respond. In fact, there's a quick thing that I wanted to share over here. A lot of us, we worry. We worry about so many things in life, right? Especially, let's say you tried to share a product and the person said, hey, it's too expensive. And you're like worrying, oh my God, can I do this? Something happens to your job. You're worried, oh, I can't focus on my business anymore. Something happens in your relationship. Oh, wow, I can't do business anymore. I need to fix this relationship first.
I can't do life anymore.
Yeah, right? So a lot of us are constant, warriors. We need to be warriors, but we are constant warriors, right? Girls, women, don't just be a princess, be a warrior princess, okay? Be a princess, but be a warrior princess. But hey, this constant worry syndrome, there's a beautiful thing that I saw and I wanted to share with you guys. Right? Do you have a problem in life? No. Then why worry? Right? Do you have a problem in life? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Then why worry? Can you do something about it? No. then why worry? Right? So all roads lead to why worry? Whether you can do something about it or not do something about it. Why worry? Worry is not going to solve the problem, right? And it's so simple. If most of us can just live by this mantra, if we can just live by this philosophy, I think we should be good. I think we will not be bothered by what others say or what my friends and family say or what happens in my other areas of life. Somebody, a relationship problem, finance problem, job situation. Doesn't matter, guys. Doesn't matter. You have that. It's we say a horse with the blinders on. You know where you are headed. Just learn to. Of course, we're not saying don't take care of what you need to take care of. Take care of that, but just stay focused. Okay.
All right, and I think Shweta beautifully covered. A lot of these mindset glitches that have to be cemented. Okay, but alongside, if you're an IB over here who's actually, if you're an IB over here who's been there for some time in the business, okay, a couple of years, what happens over there at that time? Okay, sometimes we try to compare. We try to compare ourselves with somebody else. We try to compare our life with one of our friends' life who's actually not building the business. You might have questions. Hey, I'm 600 PV in the business, or I'm going on to 1200 PV, but I've been fighting hard to go on 1200 PV. I'm working hard in the business. When will I grow? My friends are going out on vacation, posting cute pictures in Facebook and Instagram. See, guys, first thing is me and Shweta had to learn to stop comparing ourselves with the other average population out there. Okay, we learn to understand that most people, when they post pictures, somebody told this, right? If somebody puts a camera in front of your face right now, what's the first expression that will come in your face? I heard you guys, smile, right? What does that mean? When my friend actually posts something on Instagram about a trip, he's smiling because he's taking a selfie. There is a camera in front of his face. But after that, I don't know what kind of conversation is happening between the husband and the wife. I don't know. After coming back home, he typically does not post the picture of a credit card statement that shows up after the trip. Okay, when most people take trips on debts using credit card, I don't see how a smile can break up in the face. Okay, so don't be disillusioned by that. Okay, do not be disillusioned by that. I don't think Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli had vacations and breaks in the course when they were actually building their career up. Okay, any person who's reached to a significance level in their life, they have understood to do one thing and one thing alone, not with the deadline, one thing and one thing alone for as long as it takes till they reach the finish line. Now, that's the mindset that actually helps people to grow in any endeavor that they take, right? ये जो mindset है ना, 1-2 साल ट्राई करता हूँ, दाल गली तो गली, नहीं गली तो नहीं गली, तो हर चीज में मेरी दाल कभी गलने नहीं वाली है, right? I only have to eat uncooked food every day then, right? People who succeed in anything are the ones who turn the gas on and keep it on, whatever long it takes till the food is cooked. And that's the mindset that we learned, and we learned not to compare ourselves with other people. If I try to compare this business with a 40-hour or 50-hour per week job, this business will be fun. It'll be a joyride. It'll be awesome experience. But if I try to compare the time that I'm sitting in a BBS or at the time that I'm sitting in an EW workshop, and I compare that with a 1 hour, 2 hour I could have spent in Netflix, this business would be a torture. So question, मेरा सवाल आपसे यह है कि आपकी comparisons क्या है? आप किस चीज से compare कर रहे हो अपने business को? आपका comparison सही है कि गलत है? ये आपको जानना है. आपको सोचना है, आपको समझना है. You have to come with the right comparison so you know what you're actually building. Okay, I'm not going to have a Netflix time try to compete with my EW workshop time or a BBS time, because one is pleasure driven, other is value driven. Am I only pleasure focused in life, or am I also trying to pursue value in life? ये आपको जवाब अभी देने की जरूरत नहीं है, but आपको खुद से ये सवाल पूछना जरूरी है. So, sometimes as you work in corporate raises might sound very shiny, although there is none left right now. But you know what, corporate raise, यार job तो ठीक ठाक है, remote चल रहा है फिलहाल. I don't have much of a pinch right now, But you know what? Smart people are the ones who dig their well before they're thirsty. जस्ट बिकॉज फिलहाल रिमोट है, देखो 2 साल के पहले किसी ने सोचा नहीं था कि रिमोट होने वाला है, और 2-3 साल के बाद फिलहाल समझदार लोग सोचेंगे कि यार ये भी ट्रेंड बदल सकता है. This trend will also change after 2-3 years. I wouldn't be surprised if companies are really calling everybody in person and changing the game. So, when I'm not thirsty is when I have to dig my well. Smart people always are proactive. As Shweta said, they are not reactive. And अगर मेरी किसी चीज में बिलीफ ज्यादा है, अगर आपने कोई अच्छी मूवी देखी, राइट? फिलहाल अच्छी मूवी का कोई नाम याद नहीं आ रहा मुझे, पर अगर आपने कोई अच्छी मूवी देखी, ब्रह्मास्त्र, राइट, अगर आपने कोई अच्छी मूवी देखी, गेस व्हाट, आई डोंट थिंक आप किसी दोस्त या फैमिली को उस मूवी के बारे में बोलने में झिझकोगे. यू विल हैव नो हेजिटेशन टू टॉक टू देम अबाउट द मूवी. Why? Because you believe your experience was first class in that movie and you enjoyed it and you're trying to now promote that movie effortlessly. क्यों? क्योंकि आप दिमाग से नहीं बोल रहे हो, आप दिल से बोल रहे हो, क्योंकि आपको मूवी उतनी पसंद आई. सवाल ये उठता है कि आप जिस बिजनेस में हो, अगर आपका आईबीओ नंबर है, आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट द बिजनेस फ्रॉम योर हेड और आर यू टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस बिजनेस फ्रॉम योर हार्ट? Do you really have a first class experience about this business, not only in the first month of your launch or only after you attend the conference? Are you having a first class experience about your business every single day as you're building the business? और अगर आपका first class experience हो रहा है दिल से, you will never have the question in your mind कि यार मैं लोगों को convince कैसे करूं ये business के लिए. जिन लोगों में conviction की कमी है, वो लोग सोचते हैं लोगों को convince कैसे करें. People who lack conviction are the ones who always think of how can I convince people. The minute in my mind I'm thinking how can I convince people, boom, that's a person who lacks conviction. That's the person जिसके दिल में भरोसा नहीं है खुद के बारे में और भरोसा नहीं है बिजनेस के बारे में. तो first homework is try and see how you can increase that belief and that confidence in yourself and that confidence in your business. And last thing, guys, I'm so proud of a lot of you guys, moving on to 1200 PV, 2400 and moving on. Never become a tired warrior in your business. Be a warrior, but do not become a tired warrior. Because when I try to, if some of you might be thinking, yeah, is it a lot of hard work to build a business? But I want you to ask this question, if attending a couple of meetings, associations in a week, doing some meet and greets to identify like-minded people, using your own products, talking and communicating with the coach to develop a higher mindset, if this seems like a lot of hard work on a weekly basis, then any and every other business is going to be a nightmare for me.
True.
We firmly feel network marketing platform powered by Amway and Dream Team leadership is the absolute best business model and the simplest business model out there to build your asset. Mind you, I said simplest business model, not easiest business model. It's a simplest business model. It requires hard work. It requires focus. It requires dedication. But wait, ये सारी चीज तो आपने खुद अपने कॉर्पोरेट करियर में दिखा चुके हैं. आप हार्ड वर्क, डेडिकेशन, सिंसियरिटी, ये सारा चीज तो आपने ऑलरेडी आपके जॉब में दिखा रहे हो आप फिलहाल, और आगे भी दिखाते रहोगे. तो सवाल ये उठता है कि इफ आई एम विलिंग टू पोर्ट्रे डेडिकेशन, फोकस एंड डिसिप्लिन टू बिल्ड समबडी एल्सेस बिजनेस, why not maybe put 8 to 10 hours of same dedication, focus and discipline to build my own business part time? Common sense वाली बात है ये, पर सोचना जरूरी है इसके बारे में. Does that make sense? So
absolutely. And now, once you actually decide to leverage this platform, what does a day in the life of an entrepreneur look like? There are certain things that you have to change in order to change your future. They say, right, to change your life, you got to change what you do on a daily basis. I cannot do the same things that I did and expect a different outcome in life. Okay. So some of the things that we like to do, when you wake up, put some positive in your mind. India is a land of spirituality. And I know there's a lot of, in the early mornings, there's a lot of spiritual talks that are probably played on radio, on television. And that's good. If that is something that grounds you, that's good. But alongside, see how you can also pour some good in terms of adding value when it comes to success principles. Learn to read some books. We've all done that, but some of us, we're totally out of touch, and it's okay. But if I had to, I knew that I could not take my corporate mindset and, grow in this business. I had to understand that I had to learn to maybe, read some new books. The books that I read in college will only help me get the job that I'm working in right now. But if I have to succeed as an entrepreneur, I have to read Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Thinking Big, A Compound Effect. Support something good. Listen to some good podcasts. Okay. So start your day with the right motivation, because these audios and books will give you the right motivation and clarity on what you need to do for the rest of the day. And again, I say motivation because that is something that you have to do for yourself. Please do not expect somebody else to motivate you on a regular basis. Right? Some of you, all of you who are plugged into this, you're probably going to be a little bit motivated after this, which is great. But can you motivate yourself tomorrow and the day after and the day after and a week after? Right? So entrepreneurs do not rely on motivation for success, by the way. They're self-motivated. So let go of these mood and feeling kind of things. The only mood you want to have is growth mood. You say growth mode and growth mood, right? That's all that you want to have. That's the only time you want to get emotional is about your dreams. You don't want to get emotional about maybe something, maybe some other area of life that's not going so well, which is you don't want to bring that into this business, right? So education, and some of us, if we are still thinking that hey, it's going to be a little bit of an extra cost every month for books and audios. Hey, education does not cost. Education pays. Ignorance costs. In the long run, it's going to cost big time. So you want to pour some good into you, okay? And then, of course, what's the next thing? Let the junk out in your life. Like I said earlier, anything that you do on a daily basis that does not contribute to your goal in the next 3 to 5 years, see if you can outsource it. If it's if it's a necessity, see if you can outsource it. If it can be delayed, do that. Like I said, my Netflix time, Hulu time, whatever, party time, all of that, right? But if it is something that has to be done, but it's not really productive, then see if you can outsource it. The good thing is, in India, help is available easily. Resources are available easily. So see if you can invest a little bit of money and outsource that and take somebody else's help, just so that you can simplify your life and declutter your life. Okay, if you can have somebody come and cook and clean for you, if you're a mom like I am, see if you can, those for those hours that you need to invest in your business, see if you can seek some help. Maybe get a babysitter or a nanny who can take care of your kids for those few hours. It's okay, because for kids, what works is quality time more than quantity time. I've seen a lot of frustrated moms that just, they are with their kids all day, but then all they keep saying is, don't do this, don't touch that, don't do this. That's all they keep saying. And the kid is like, man, this woman, she only keeps telling me what not to do, right? So don't be that frustrated mom. It's okay to take some time out for yourself. Okay, so seek some help, and then, of course, that's how you can clear your calendar and keep prime time the prime time. I remember growing up in Mumbai, there was this prime time television, started around 7 o'clock or something like that. And all these very popular serials.
All the Saas Bahu serials came on prime time, man.
Yep. And they went on for years, I guess. And hey, we watched not all of those, but I watched some of those growing up as a little kid. It used to be played in my house, and but that was prime time television. So now, what is the prime time for your business? You know why it's prime time? Because that's the time when everybody is done with their job and they're looking to do something more. Because they don't have another means to do anything, they're watching TV. Okay, so what's your prime time? For us, it is the 6 to 10 p.m. And what do we do in that prime time? We are in the creative stages of business. We are either growing our network or growing our volume, one of the two activities. Okay, prime time is not the time when I'm reading a book or listening to an audio. Prime time is not the time when I'm just sitting and thinking about my why. Prime time is the time when I'm performing. Right? So just understanding that part. And then while we're doing all of this, of course, it's so important to keep your life clear of distractions. I think we've already covered enough on that. But like I said, on a daily basis, guys, it takes effort. It takes intention to do that on a daily basis. Because, there could be small noises in your life that can get in the way. But can you just overcome that and be okay? Like I said, not just taking those mood and feeling kind of things out of the equation. Oh, I don't feel like doing it. I'm not in the mood to go out today and make new connections. I'm not in the, this month, I don't think I'm in the mood to drink excess. So I don't want to order products. I hope you understand it's your own business.
Are you an independent business owner or are you a mood-based business owner? IBO or MBO? Food for thought.
Exactly. Right? So let those mood things out of the way. And then, of course, play, huddle, play. After prime time, pick up the phone call, pick up the phone and talk to your upline and ask specific questions. Play, huddle, play is not the time for you to just pick up the phone and say, I'm calling you because it's our huddle time. And that's it. Now you're waiting for your upline to unleash, right? play, huddle, play is the time for you to do certain activity and ask specific questions. The reason a lot of huddles do not happen is because a lot of plays do not happen. So if you're doing a lot of play, I know you will be texting and calling your upline all the time because you're seeking correction. Okay. And then eventually you want to start performing. In the beginning, your upline is going to help you. Your coach is going to help you do certain things in the business, get results. But eventually you want to start taking charge. You want to move from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. It's like this, right? A giraffe, when it's born, the baby giraffe, as soon as it's born, the mother giraffe feeds the baby. And when the feeding is done, the first thing she does after that is she gives it a hard kick. Its own newborn baby, the mother giraffe gives it a kick. Okay. And the baby is like, poor thing, I just came in this world. What's happening? Why is this woman who just dropped me, the woman who just gave birth to me is kicking me? And before it can even process what's going on, the mama giraffe gives one more kick. And by now, even that newborn is smart enough to understand, I need to do something about this. Otherwise, I'm going to keep getting these kicks. So the newborn baby, the giraffe stands, okay, on his four legs. Obviously, it's wobbly because newborn, just born. So it's wobbly, never stood before in life. And by the time it stands, the mama giraffe gives one more kick. And guess what? By now, the baby knows it has to run. Even if it's wobbly, it starts running. And you know why the mama giraffe does that? Because she knows the minute I leave this baby to get some food, some predator that's roaming around will come and kill it. So I need to teach this baby how to stand up on his own four legs and run and protect itself and fend for himself, right? And does she like doing that? I don't think so. No mother would like to kick their newborn, okay? Animal or human. But she does it, right? And sometimes your upline is going to make you do certain things that you don't like. But you have to step up and understand that they're doing it so that you can move into the driver's seat and not back out and not feel like, why me? Understand they're preparing you for something bigger because they have a forest view and you just have a tree view.
And guys, so keeping all of this in context, right? You understand your why, the potential of Amway Dream Team leadership, right? You understand some growing trends and see how Amway Dream Team leadership fits those trends. Okay, you clear your cobwebs in your mind in terms of some questions. If you're a seasoned IBO, you're thinking, how can I develop more clarity on some of the mindsets, and I don't compare my life with an average person's life. But alongside all of this put together, now is the time where you're actually sitting in the driver's seat and you're building your business. And a lot of you guys over here are at different levels in the business. Okay, some of you guys might be a new launch. Okay, congratulations. Some of you would be a brand new 200 PV. Some of you between 200 and 600 PV, moving on to 1200 PV, moving on to BFI, BBI. You have different levels and different slabs in your business journey. Alongside that journey, something that me and Shweta learned, we just like to wrap it up with that. Okay, you want to share that slide, Shweta?
Absolutely.
So, there are different levels of leadership that we've learned thanks to the mentorship in this business. Okay, right. You want to go next? Right. So different levels of leadership. The first level, if you're a new partner or if you're a new 200 PV, you're all by yourself. Okay. They say personal victory precedes team victory. Right. So are you in the game to be victorious? Okay. Gradually, as you move on 200 PV, you're using your product, you're moving on to the next level. Maybe you might have a couple of IBOs. As you move on to 600 PV, you're moving on to 6%. Guess what? You might have 2-3 IBOs in your team. Okay. But guess what? Those 2-3 IBOs are actually a part of your team because you are a positional leader. They might take your name because, he's my upline. I have to take his name. Right. I have to take his name. I have to work with him. Right? People will follow you because they have to, because you might still be at the positional slab of leadership, and that's completely fine. Me and Shweta have been there. Everybody builds their business journey that way. But then slowly you learn the ropes of the trade. You learn how to build networks. You develop and identify and qualify effectively like-minded people. You're moving on to the next rung. As you move on to 1200 PV, you qualify BFI. You eventually move on to Eagle, you're moving on to 2400 PV. Guess what? This is a level where people see that you're able to kind of build relationship. People now slowly want to follow you because they want to. They're able to feel a vibe of you as an entrepreneur, not just as a friend, but as an entrepreneur. Gradually, as you move on to Eagle and beyond, you will go on to the next level of leadership, which is, more of a producer level of leadership, where you're not just positional, you're not just relational, where people have to follow you because they feel there is a privilege, but now you're producing in your business. You're getting results. People follow you because they're attracted because of the results that you create for your own business. You're a producer level leader. Eventually, you continue your journey. Okay, it's going to be a sine wave. Some days are high, some days are low. It's a roller coaster ride. Entrepreneurship journey is like a heartbeat. It better be up and down, otherwise a person is dead. So it's going to be high and low, but as you continue through the roller coaster and stay persistent, you're able to actually see and move on. Maybe some of you over here are 7,000 PV knocking the door of silver, 10,000 PV moving on to platinum. Guess what? That's a level where now you're not just creating results, you're also able to duplicate, empower, and help others to also start creating results. You are in the people development phase of your business. You're a people developer in your business. And guess what? That's a very significant level in the business. And beyond that level, like our coaches, Ravi and Aarti, Diamonds and beyond, the founders of Dream Team Leadership, Ganesh and Rekha, they have reached the top level of the leadership, something that me and Shweta are always inspired. We are all inspired by them. Why? Because, hey, people today follow them, not because of what they might have done personally to an individual. People today follow them just because who they are, what they stand for. You and me don't buy an iPhone because Steve Jobs invited us to his home for having a cup of coffee. You and me buy an iPhone because we know what Apple stands for. That's a brand. That's a top level of leadership. And for me and Shweta, this is our leadership journey of how we gradually try to move up the rungs of the leadership ladder. Most of us might be focused on moving up the rungs of corporate ladder. That is great. But are you actually also focused on moving up the rung of the leadership ladder and making an impact, not just in your life, but in many more other families to come? Okay. But with that, we are pretty much done. Thank you so much for this opportunity, team. It's a privilege for us to come here and share. And I'll tell you what, me and Shweta are a testimony of a couple who, from no business background, were able to leverage the mentorship system, work with our coach, and gradually build an asset. And we are still work in progress and continue to move on to higher levels in the business. Okay. With that, we give it up to our very friendly, dashing hosts, Suresh and Jhansi.
Thank you, Santosh and Sweta. That was such an incredible session. And thank you for pouring your heart out. And you have taken all excuses away. Like sometimes those small blocks that can really hamper the growth, and they come in the way of building a huge business, right? And that is something that you really helped, sharing those nuggets and practical tips. And Shweta, you have shown with simple demonstration of how one can think better and how they can elevate their thought process. And you really told us why it is important to move away from the pleasure focus to really pursue the value. And these are so many amazing nuggets and practical tips. I know I see all the WhatsApp groups are buzzing right now. Jhansi, you have more to share. Yeah,
definitely. That was a powerful session. So some things are very subtle, but if you understand that is a very powerful share there, maybe they are experienced and sharing us. So one thing I want to share here is this is told by both of them actually. So when you know why, so how and what part are not a big deal. So a simple thing. So if your kid want to be a scientist or something he want to invent, right? So from first grade he has a question that how and what. So it won't go anywhere. But if his dream is clear, he will figure out how and what. So that is what it is, and they are very powerful nuggets for ladies, and not only in the business, whatever they have shared the value system, not only for the business, but in the life also, it will help a lot actually. So if you think in that case, if you take that responsive versus reactive, okay. So these are very powerful, and the things they have shared to become an entrepreneur, the small steps that are very powerful, powerful share. Santosh and Shweta, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, and this is just the first session. So many amazing nuggets we got. So the second session is going to be even more amazing. We are going to hear from them their journey, their story. They are not only very successful in their profession, they are also having, taking care of their personal things with two little ones at home. And with all that, they are able to build such a massive empire. So you want to learn how they are able to do it. So join back in the second session. So we'll have a 15-minute break right now. Yes, the Zoom webinar will be running. It's on the same bridge, but you can take a break and join back in 15 minutes from now. Okay, with that, we'll come back in 15 minutes. All right, we are back, and the second session is going to be even more powerful.
So I think you guys are freshen up, having some snacks or fresh drinks or something. So
yeah, I'm sure you guys have had access and all energized for the second session, charged up. So let's start with some fun. So we have the chat enabled here. So we are going to have few riddles. Those are simple ones, but let's try it out and see. So the first riddle is going to be, why ants don't get sick? Why ants don't get sick? You guys, the Zoom chat is enabled, so you'll be able to
you can send your responses
there. So ants don't get sick because they have antibodies, the antibodies. So it is the antibodies that make them not get sick. Jansi, you have another nice riddle?
Yeah, sure. So what is there in between India and Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys can think a little bit,
yeah,
you can get it. So what's there in between India and Sri Lanka?
That's the answer I gave to Jansi, but it's not. Yeah, that's right. Tushar has given that. Super. It's the word and.
Yeah. Okay. So India and Sri Lanka. So there is an and.
Okay. Yes. Awesome. Next, another one you want to ask?
Yeah, you ask, then I will ask.
Okay. Now, this is something, the more you see, the thing that you more you see less. What is it? The thing that you see more will be the one that you see less. Okay, no. It's the darkness. Okay.
So it is more means we cannot see more.
Yeah. Okay. So the last one, Jansi?
So last one, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
So
aeroplane?
Yeah. So what happens when aeroplane goes reverse?
Reverse. If it goes reverse, what happens?
What happens?
Yeah, I think somebody has told that. So
yeah,
the river water is going to splash on the aeroplane.
It is going in reverse. That means not in reverse. R-E-V-E-R-S-E, going in reverse. R-A-V-E-R-S. So these are some of the things which give us a smile on our face. So it's very simple, but when you are going to solve, it is little tricky. Yeah, it's going to be,
the business is also like that. It looks like a puzzle. And a lot of times, simple things, but we cannot see it. But what can help you see is really listening and learning from these amazing entrepreneurs and getting access to Santosh and Shweta for almost like 3 hours is incredible.
They are pouring their heart. We have to elevate our mind and we have to be attentive. So we don't want to take much time of them. So
their story is going to be incredible because you know, like they have like 5-year-old at home and 5-month-old newborn, and
tough
with all
to do business at that age of 5-month-old baby at home and doing the business and doing the seminar itself is a very tough job, and they are doing. Yeah, that's amazing.
So we are very excited. But before that, I want to see before we bring up the speakers, I would like to see if you can share your excitement through Menti. So in the chat, there will be the URL menti.com with the code. Just like how you shared, where are you from? Go ahead and share your 1 or 2 words excitement, and then we will bring the speakers. Let's
take your mobiles and go into the site.
Yeah.
And
so we like to see the. So I think this is the results the admin team is sharing. So go ahead and type in the. So there is also you see on the screen, there is a code. That code you can enter and share your excitement. Yeah. Yes, fired up.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, superb.
Yeah, more coming. Let's bring the cloud roof down and bring up Santosh and Shweta. And I see like, so many people are
responding. Awesome to see the response and your excitement. So yeah, mind blowing. Yeah, really, it's mind blowing session. Previously we had, and next session also is going to be mind blowing, and we are also fired up to listen their journey. So how they successfully done all the business and giving access, and even the some came up in between the path, how
They still able to
did
build that massive enterprise across
Yeah.
India and US. Let's bring them
some
on.
excitement. Yeah.
Looking forward to your journey, Santosh and Shweta. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Suresh and Chatsi, for being such wonderful hosts. Guys, these are the people behind the scenes. Last night, they connected with us just to make sure everything was going well. And the way they've been hosting us is a class act. Even during the session, every single thing was taken care of. So thank you so much, guys, for everything that you do. Neeraj and Suresh and Jhansi and Sri Ram. And sorry if I missed any names. Kunal. Yeah, but thank you, guys. But hello, everyone. We're Santosh and Shweta again, and we're so excited to share with you our story. This is the fun part for you guys and for us as well. Hopefully for you guys. But before I even start that part, I just want to, give gratitude where, we're grateful and we want to give gratitude to where it belongs. Of course, it starts with the higher power. We're so thankful to God for everything, for all the blessings that God has showered on us. And then, of course, our uplines. What do I even talk about them? We're so thankful to Nitin and Nandana, our sponsors. Thanks to them, we are here speaking to you guys today. It's because they extended their hands and shared this opportunity with us. So, and they're such great friends and always there for us. And then, of course, they are uplines Anurag and Mithika. Just family. We love them, and one couple that we can always rely on when we need something. So, and of course, everything, the grace and the calmness that they have and the personality that they have, people love being around them. So we're so thankful to Anurag and Mithika for everything that they do for us and our team. And of course, our mentors and coaches, Dr. Ravi and Aarti. It's because of their guidance that we are where we are in business today. And even in life, in so many areas, the way they have guided us. Their life is a beautiful example of how you can actually take care of different areas of your life and be successful in most areas, not just one area. And thank you, Ravi and Aarti, for setting that example and for always being there for us. I'll just start, with the fact that, of course, we were telling, right, we're originally from Mumbai, so born and raised in Mumbai, okay, and in a very loving family unit. But before I even get to that part of the story, I want to kind of, tell you where my LOS comes from, okay? Like we have a business LOS, my life LOS. So my dad, I'll take you back to the Mumbai of the 80s, okay, before I was born, and actually India of the 80s. So my dad, he comes from a very large family in a small village in northern India, okay, and we belong to a community called the Rajput community. So this community has a lot of status in the village, okay, a lot of status, a lot of, they can get things done their way, if you know what I mean. And a lot of respect, a lot of status and respect. And they could really, they had a lot of help available. So that's the kind of family and background upbringing he comes from. Okay. Now, the only thing with that community was, with all the status and power that they had, they didn't really focus a lot on education. Okay. Because they didn't need to, probably, because they could have most of the things even without having to go for a job. So education was not their top priority. Let me just put it that way. And he had 5 other siblings, and he was the oldest. He is the oldest of them all. And, even till date, if he goes back, to his village in North India, he still has that same kind of respect. So education was not the priority. Let me just put it that way. And then everybody in his family, all his siblings, none of them ever felt the need to do something different from what their father and grandfather was doing. They were very comfortable with whatever they had. But somehow, my dad was wired different. And I'm so thankful to that for that. I am so thankful for that because, like they say, right, just be thankful for where you're planted. Be it in this business or in life, you shine where you grow. You shine where you're planted. You grow where you're planted. And my dad was like that. In spite of being in that same family, in that same environment, for some reason he was wired different, and he wanted to step out of that village, come to a big city, and make it big. And I have no idea where he got that from, but that's what he wanted to do. So he decides to come to Mumbai, the largest city of India, and of course the financial capital. They say, it's the city of dreams. That's what everybody calls it. For us, it is just our home, but it's called as a city of dreams. And he took a train from Varanasi to Mumbai with just a few hundred rupees because he didn't want to take his parents' money. So he did that. And when he comes to Mumbai, he doesn't have a place to stay. He actually slept in places where probably you and me wouldn't, okay, till he found something that he could. Till he found a good rental place. He did all of that. And when he told me the story, I was thinking, it must have been so easy for him to go back to where he came from. He had a big house back there. He had, he had a lot of help available. He had the money, the status. It would have been so easy for him to go back and live a comfortable life. But once he came here to Mumbai with just a few hundred rupees in those days, and, I didn't really have a proper place to stay the first few days, he decided to stick it out. There was no U-turn. And why am I sharing the story with you guys? Like I said, first, be grateful for where you're planted, because if God had even a slightly different plan for me, if I was born to anybody else in that family, other than my dad, if I was born to one of his brothers, I wouldn't be here today. Because all my, I know all my cousins and most of them, they're still there. They're still very comfortable over there. And they don't want to do something more out of life. So I just feel like, I was the chosen one when God decided to do that. He decided to bring me to actually both my parents, who were very different from everybody else around them. Okay. So just be very thankful, even in business, no matter who your upline is, just be very thankful because they got you here. They got you where you are, whether you like them or not. Just have that gratitude towards them. Okay. So like I said, so he stuck it out. He decided to step out of his comfort zone, stuck it out, found a place to stay. And then, of course, then called my mom over. They were just newly married or something like that. And then called my mom over. We were not born yet. And talking about my mom, she's a Bombay girl. Of course, she also belonged to the Rajput community, but she's a Bombay girl, born and raised in Bombay. And then, but then, of course, she moved to the village after getting married. But then she came back here, and now they started their life together over here. Okay. And then fast forward a few years later, we were born. And it's the three of us, my older sister and my younger brother. And I absolutely love them. Growing up, they were my best friends, and they still continue to be my sister. Always, she was this mother figure and a sister figure in my life. And my brother, just 2 years younger to me, was always my best friend and continues to be. He and his wife, beautiful wife, even right now. One of my hobbies growing up was reading and beating my brother. And I was able to fulfill that hobby until the age of 5. And then he started beating back. Okay, but we had an amazing childhood, great memories. Okay. Talking a little bit about my mom, and there's a reason why I'm talking about my parents over here. Okay. My mom had a very rough childhood. She lost both her parents pretty early on. She lost her mom at the age of 6 or 7, and then she lost her dad a few years later. Grew up in she had a rough childhood. But again, with all of those things, she chose to overcome. And when she got married and when she had us, she gave us the life that she gave us. We never ever felt the We were, what she never made us feel, or even she never put an effort for us to even understand what she might have gone through as a child. A lot of these things I found out only later. Okay. But it's like that lotus that blossoms, right, in dirty waters. And that's how my mom was. Again, obviously losing both her parents at an early age, she didn't have the opportunity. She would have loved to study. She went to a good school in Mumbai, but then college, she couldn't do much because obviously, circumstances didn't allow her. But then she was one determined lady. She was extremely good in sports and athletics in her time. And even till date, she could beat a lot of us in sports. Okay. I for sure could never win in a lot of things with her. Okay. And I'm proud to say that. But, she had this winner attitude, this spirit of always winning, of always standing out. In fact, when we were born, she always made sure that our family and her kids, the three of us, we were always a little bit one notch up than the rest of us around us. For some reason, she always did that. Our house was better than everybody else's house around in the area, in the neighborhood. We dressed better, we looked better, we spoke better. And I don't take any credit for that. She did that. She did that completely. She made sure that, the upbringing that we had, like I said, I was born in a big city. So we were having fun. And then she made sure that I got admission into a British convent school in Mumbai. Loved that school, had amazing memories over there in that school. Very strict convent school, right? So we had nuns over there and a boarding school and stuff like that, but it was the best time of my life. But yeah, she made sure that we did that. And so she never really, the school that she studied in was, she didn't really study in an English language medium school. So the medium of instruction was not English, but because we were in good convent schools, she learned English so that she could teach us. And she did this all by herself. She would pick up our textbooks and read before she would sit down to help us understand those things. And she did this all by herself. And she did pretty great, by the way. And today, at that time as a kid, I did not understand those things. But when I look back, I'm amazed how at that age she learned a new language. She didn't just learn to read, she even learned to write it so she could teach us. And she was a big disciplinarian. Oh my God, she really disciplined us. Just to give you a perspective, okay? If for Diwali, we went to somebody's house, and if there was this beautiful box of sweets or tray of snacks kept in front of us, even before eating, I would look at my mom once. Like, can I eat this? Right? There was this unspoken conversation. Only when she nodded, I would pick up something and eat. And if I liked it, I would look at her again. Like, can I eat one more? So that's the kind of discipline. That's how she raised us. And she was very strict, but I'm so thankful because I think we turned out well. I think she, because of that discipline, we were, we knew what our boundaries were, and we knew how to behave when it came. We were not spoiled. Let me just say that. She gave us a lot of comforts, but we were never spoiled. Okay. But at the same time, when I talk about boundaries, let me also tell you that she is the one who gave me wings. There's a story that I want to share. She's the one. She never ever told me that there's something that I couldn't do. Never. In fact, she was so competitive, the most competitive lady I've ever met in my life. At the age of 3, she pushed me into participating. I was in pre-K at that time. Nursery is what we call it back then. And she said, at the age of 3, she made me participate in a public speaking fancy dress competition in pre-K. Okay. Obviously, I was not the one to enroll my name. She enrolled it. And she wanted me to enact as a teacher. It was a fancy dress competition. So she dressed me up as a teacher. She took one of her scarves and she draped the sari around me. She gave me a big stick in my hand and she made me rehearse my dialogues. at home. And I would do that every single day. And then came the big day. It's like, some of us have to do our first talk on a book in the FNH, right? Here, as a 3-year-old, I was put on stage in front of, 50, 100 people, all dressed in that scarf sari with a stick in my hand. And it was my turn to say my dialogues. And that was the first time I did public speaking. That was the first time I was on stage. And I had stage fear. So I just stood there, even though I knew every single dialogue by heart, I just stood there not saying a word. Okay. And I just stood there with my finger in my mouth like this, just like wondering, when can I get out of here? In fact, I actually have a picture of that. Let me share that with you guys real quick. That's me. Right? That's a 3-year-old me in pre-kindergarten. And you see all those people around. And here I am all dressed, ready to say my dialogues. But I didn't really say anything. I just stood there and the photographer took a nice picture of me standing there. Okay. So, but hey, when I came back home, she didn't scold me or anything. She just said, it's okay. I'm proud of you. She realized that I got nervous. And that was my first public speaking experience. And why I'm sharing this with you, guys, because sometimes when you come into this business, right, and when you're, some of us, we're like this in an FNH, right? When you're assigned to a book or an audio, you're like, what do I say? And it's okay. It's okay. We all get over the same fears sooner or later. It's the same fears that we all have to overcome. Fast forward 2 years, when I was in my first grade, she again made me participate in an elocution competition in school. And this time, actually, it was extempore. Extempore means you're given a topic on the spot and you talk on it. You get a minute to think about it, and then you talk on that topic. And this was inter-school level, which means all the other schools in my area were also there. Students were handpicked from other schools. And it was, they were all going to come to our school. And all of them were convent schools. And they were going to come to our school. And, there's going to be an extempore competition. She did this again when I was in my first grade. And as a 6-year-old, I remember going there, again, being a nervous wreck. And going there, now for some reason, because now there were so many kids from other schools, right? We were the youngest. The 6-year-olds were the youngest. And for some reason, this is how, destiny. For some reason, I was the first speaker out of all those. So for that evening, I happened to be the very first speaker to go on stage. Talk about being nervous, right? And I stand there, the teacher calls me up on stage, and there's all these big kids sitting in the crowd, 9th graders, 10th graders, and, of course, first graders too, but all kids of all age groups sitting there. And there I go on stage, I'm given a topic. I have to pick a chit. It's extempore. And it says, I pick it up, I read it. It says, my mother. That was my topic. She gives me 1 minute to think about. I go on the side, I make some mental points. And 6-year-old, right? What pointers will you make? I love my mother very much. She wakes me up for school. She makes breakfast for me. Something on those lines I thought about. And then it was my turn to speak. And I stood there. I said what I had to say for a minute, and then I came back. And then the results were announced. There were there were 3 prizes, top 3 prizes, first, second, third, and then 10 consolation prizes. You understand what's a consolation prize? You're not really the winner, but you're like better than the rest probably. So you get a certificate or something like that. And my name was there as a 9th consolation prize winner out of 10. So I just made it in the winners list. Okay. 9th consolation prize. Now, the reason I share this is because even though it was a 9th consolation prize, do you know what it did for my self-image? I was elated. I was ecstatic. That's all I needed as a 6-year-old. That small win is all I needed. Because It's that ninth consolation prize that made me win a lot of first prizes and second prizes later in my life in the same public speaking arena. So what I'm trying to say over here is, one, we all have to overcome the same fears, guys. Probably some of us overcome it at an early age, maybe as a 6-year-old, as a 10-year-old, as a 20-year-old. Maybe some of us have to do it now, at whatever age you are. It's okay. When you see someone walk into the business and if you feel like, oh, this person has a certain personality and that's why, she can succeed. Not really. Oh, I cannot talk to people. Oh, I cannot, do this. Not really. We're all born. When you're born, you're born as a clean slate, right? And everything else is programmed. So just understand that somebody got over the same fear that you have to overcome now earlier, and it's okay. And maybe you are overcoming that fear sooner than somebody else. And you'll set a great example for that person. And second thing, never underestimate the power of small wins. Never ever underestimate that. That first retail that you do, even if it's a 5 PV or a 10 PV, it's going to build up your self-image so that you can do more later down the line. That first MG1, that first DTM, it can do so much to build your self-image. So make sure you're conquering those small wins every single day. Give yourself those little goals that you can accomplish and build your self-image. It's a self-image business, guys. Our business is a self-image business. And as long as you focus on those small wins, down the line, you can have those big victories. Okay. So that was, just a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Of course, growing up, like I said, beautiful, loving childhood, great household, had a great time with my siblings, grew up to be a crazy movie buff, coming from Mumbai. I was a lot into Bollywood, the Hindi cinema. When Kuch Kuch Hota Hai released, I was still in school, very young, but I wanted to look like Kajol. So I used to wear that hairband. And I would have preferred to look like Rani Mukherjee in that movie, but my mom wouldn't let me wear those dresses. So Kajol was the only option, right? And then when Mohabbatein released, that was the only time I didn't want to be Aishwarya Rai because she was a dead woman in that movie. So but it was fun. It was fun, had a great time. It really enjoyed my childhood, to be honest, with all of that. And then you fast forward a few years later, talking about public speaking. I did a lot of, later, of course, I participated in a lot of elocution competitions, and I was big into extracurriculars. I was also good in my studies. My mom made sure I was. And then fast forward a few years, I was in engineering college, and I was hosting events, right? And there was this, as a fresher, I was in computer engineering first year. As a fresher, my class voted me as someone, so they had this voting system for who should be a student council member. And my class voted for me to be that person. And lo and behold, I was in the student council in my first year. So our college fest was going on, and we had something called as Chocolates Day. Can you believe that? It's a day where, you fill in a little slip and you write who you want to give this chocolate to, and you write a short message. And then the student council goes and gives it to that person. Yeah, so we did that. Hard to believe. But I was in the students' council. I was sitting at the registration desk for Chocolates Day. Okay, and I'm sitting there. People are coming, getting those slips from me. And then while I'm sitting there, a senior walks in, and he sits right next to me on that desk. Okay, because he's also from the students' council. And I turn towards him, and he looks at me and he says, "Hi, I'm Santosh from second year electronics and telecommunication." And that is the moment where I feel a lot of, the wind should have blown on my face and the bell should have rung in true Bollywood style, but nothing like that happened. But that's where I met him, my future, my spouse, my life partner. That was the moment that we met. And
DTM works, guys. I'm telling you, DTM is very effective.
Yeah. So, and then, we got introduced to each other, and then we did some hosting events together after that. So we were on stage together. That's how we met. I like to say we met on stage. because the reason we were put together is because we had to host certain events together. Okay, so we did that, and few years, we started getting to know each other. We started liking each other. We started dating now. And then I remember this one one afternoon, we went to the college library. We were in the college library. I was still a nerd reading books. By the way, growing up, I loved reading. That is something that I learned from my sister. My sister would buy all these English novels and keep at home. And then as a little girl, I would just go in and start sneaking into her books. And then one day I opened it and started reading it. And there, I started loving books. So I read a lot of Thomas Hardy and, a lot of books, in short, a lot of them, Oliver Twist and all those kiddish novels back then. But then, of course, my tastes changed. But hey, why do I mention that? Learning by observation. It's not, my sister never told me to read those books, but I did it. Observation, right? So it's not so much what you tell your team, it's what you do that counts. Your team is watching. Your downlines are like that baby sister that my elder sister had, which is me. The downlines are like that. They're watching what you're doing and they start picking up on it, whether you want them to or not. And guess what? Books have stayed with me since then. I loved reading. I absolutely loved reading. In fact, whenever I was down, not feeling well, or just emotionally something was not right, I would resort to books. I would just lock myself in a room and start reading because it just helped my mental space. So again, fast forward, we were in the library and, we were not really dating, but yeah, we were, how they say, just friends. So there we were. And Santosh, I think he really made up his mind to let me know what his feelings were for me. Right. So he was sitting there making this big plan. And then he tells me, Shweta, I really like you. And I look at him and say, I have my book in hand. And I look over my book and I tell him, what do you mean? So he says, I really like you, Shweta, like more than friend. And I go, are you telling me you want to get married sometime in the future? Honest to goodness, this is what I said. And he was like, marriage? Yeah, that too. But let's start with a relationship. And I was like, if you're not going to talk, if you're not thinking marriage in the future, I'm not interested. These were my exact words. So I was always hashtag all in. Okay. All in or none. I didn't want to play games. I didn't want to, just go around with someone and then not end up together. And that's the mentality that you want to have in your business. Hashtag all in. We always had that all in mindset. You want to say something?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I just wanted to interject and say she was always thinking marriage whenever she saw me. I just asked the question.
Right, exactly. So for me, it was like, hey, if you're talking to me, you better be all in. Okay. But hey, so that's how we got started. And then, of course, we started dating. We had a good time. Had some fun memories in college. But then, and of course, we were both very competitive. Okay. He was someone who aced his class, and I was I was the topper of my class as well. I was just trying to be modest and trying to figure out another word to say that, but that's the truth. And we were so competitive with each other as well. There was a time when he did not top his class, but I did. And remember, I was a junior, so the results were out, and he comes to me and he says, "Did you top your class?" I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Oh no." And I'm like, "What? I'm your girlfriend. You should be happy that I topped my class." So that's how competitive we were, because he hadn't topped. Of course, he started laughing. He said, "No, I'm just kidding." But I was like, "Man, this is not right. Hey, just because you did not top, you don't want me to top." But we were very competitive from the beginning. But it was fun. Okay, it was all in good spirit. So we had some good time there. But then just 1 year after we started dating, he decided to go to the US to do his master's. And, I was excited for him, but then we knew that we have to make some tough decisions now of staying together. Well, if we choose to stay together. And then there he was in a different country doing his master's. And then, of course, I was still in college, graduating in my final year. And then, I found a good job over there through my college placement. And then that is when our long distance relationship started. We were in long distance relationship for 7 long years. Physically, we did not meet each other. We leveraged WhatsApp a lot. WhatsApp was becoming popular at that time. So WhatsApp and Facebook, sending gifts and all of that. But we kept it alive. And the reason I say this is, guys, see, were we tested in those 7 long years of not being able to see each other in person? Absolutely yes. Were there days where we felt like giving up? Absolutely yes. But we stuck through it. We stayed put because I knew what the end result would be. Because I knew once we worked together, future would be bright. Remember that initial excitement that I was talking about? The reason I chose this guy is because I was, initially
because of the looks, of course,
yes.
And then, of course, the commitment kicked in.
Yes, looks, personality, all of that, right? So I knew that I had not taken the wrong decision. And it's just a matter of staying the course now before I see better days ahead. And that's how it is in our business sometimes, right? You get launched, you're excited about achieving your dreams and goals. And then now when you're putting in the work, you're going through the grind, you're getting those rejections, people not picking up your call, people returning products, people, quitting your business. Most people, that's the time when they're tested, they give up. Because they don't have that long-term thinking of what it will be once, if the business kicks off. They know if they do the right things every single day, 5 years from now, their life will be different. They know that. But it just becomes so difficult on a day-to-day basis to manage their emotions. So if you can get those emotions out of the way and keep only the emotions for your purpose, then you will be able to stick through it. And that's what we did. We knew commitment from early on, both of us. I give him a lot of credit because he was in a different country at that time. And, he stayed focused and I stayed focused. And,
Some of you guys might have uplines in a different city, might have uplines in a different country. But the question is, hey, that's also a long distance relationship, but you'll only stay committed to it if you are clear about what goal and what you're trying to accomplish. That's the rule of any relationship, folks. Okay. Your upline can even be in your own city. But if you don't have a goal and what this relationship is going to mature into, even if he's staying 15 minutes from you, you'd not be able to foster and grow and build upon that relationship. So the rule of any relationship is, do you know why is there a commitment behind it?
Absolutely. And then as I started working, the company decided to send me to Europe to lead a team over there. And everything happened very fast. Just in the first 2 years itself, they decided to package me as someone who has 8 years of experience, even though I had just 2 years of experience. And they decided to send me to Germany to work for a major airline in their IT department. And that was a great experience because here I was in a foreign land where I did not know the language. I did not know the culture. Even the currency was new to me. And everything was so different, the food. And that is an experience that taught me a lot in life. I truly believe that to be a turning point in my life because growing up in Mumbai, I really never had to go out of Mumbai much. The best colleges, the best schools, everything was right there. So I didn't really have to step out, the best companies, all of that. But this was the first time I stepped not just out of Mumbai, I was out of country with a different language, And I learned the language, I learned the culture, I started to gel with the culture. And I lived there for more than a year, for 13 months, and had a great time. Like I said, it was one of those moments, it was one of those times when that built me up the most. It did a lot to my self-image. It did a lot in terms of teaching me how to manage my own life. Back in India, I didn't have to do a thing, but now I have to do everything by myself and take care of my finances and all of that. And then, the reason I mentioned this is because sometimes, we're uncomfortable making that first BTM, right? We're like, oh, but I just can't talk to people, or, I get scared when I see someone and I have to break the ice. It's okay. It's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable. That's how you figure things out. I did not know the German language. I did not know Deutsch when I went to Germany. I did not know the culture. But, I just put myself there and I learned everything. And I survived. And I thrived. And here I am to tell the story that I had a great time. right? So it's going to be the same thing for you, but you have to take that first step. If you just decide to stay in your couch or stay in your house, or even if you step out and if you're not talking to anyone, your business is not growing. So be okay to be uncomfortable. Just put yourself in that situation, make a mess, you will learn eventually. And the beauty of this is there, I did not even have anybody to coach and guide me. I had to figure out things myself. But here you have an upline coach who's going to help you every step of the way. I think that can be a big bane sometimes, because I think people take that for granted because they have somebody who's there babysitting them and they just want to be babysat all the time. Right? So you want to get over that. Okay. So yeah, I had a great time in Germany. The weekends were awesome because in Europe, the countries are so nearby. You take a train and, within 1 hour, you're in a different country, 1 to 2 hours. So weekends, I would just take that Deutschbahn pass and just travel all over Germany and sometimes out of Germany. And traveling was my hot button. And I did a lot of that. I had a great time experiencing the culture, food, learned a lot. The job was pretty hectic, by the way. It was a very, very hectic job. But weekends, I had some time to myself. And then that is a time where, so one of my dreams was to take my parents on a Europe trip. And that was a time when I called my parents over to Germany to stay with me for a few weeks for a vacation. And I paid for their flight ticket. I had a good savings by that time. And this was by the age of 24. I had a decent enough savings in euros by that time. And I called them over. I called my parents and my little brother over. I paid for their flight ticket and everything. And then we went to Paris. We went to Switzerland. We went to Black Forest. Had a blast. The best memories of my life I created. Some of the best memories of my life till date. So we had a great time. For my parents, it was the first time ever they stepped on foreign land, and everything I paid for, every single thing. They didn't have to pay for a thing, and they were very proud of me at that time. And it just meant a lot to me when they said that. And that was one, like I said, that was one of my dreams. But then I remember the day they flew back to India, and I had to go back to my job. I would come back in my apartment in Germany, in Frankfurt, after my job, sit there, just thinking what next. Because I thought, until then, traveling and taking my parents out and all of those were things that kept me excited. But now I had done those things. And every day I would just sit in my apartment and think, what next? Tomorrow morning, back to the same office, do the same things, come back. It started becoming so heavy. I remember calling Santosh. We were still in a long distance relationship, calling him and telling him, I just don't know what to do with my life. I'm not liking this. And I started living a life of quiet desperation. And sometimes when you look at people and they may be traveling and they may be doing all these things, they look happy, but you don't know what's going on inside of them. So don't prejudge people. You might think, oh, this person is sorted. That person has a good job. They have good savings. They keep traveling. I don't think they're looking. You never know. Yes. Because I was one of those. Quiet desperation every single day. In fact, so remember I loved reading. So I loved writing too. I got so desperate, I started writing a book. I said, okay, let me do this because I didn't have the means and resources to set up a business at that time. So I was like, what can I do to give me that passive income? So I started writing because writing was something that I was good at. Even in school, I had participated in a lot of poetry writing competition and things like that. So I started writing. I said, I'll write a short story book. And I started writing stories. And he read some of those. And, because I was like, I'll do this and then I'll send it out to publishers. And then, once my book sells, I'll make a lot of money. I was naive. I didn't know the effort it takes to actually get your book published, right? If you have to do it through a publishing house. But that's the route I started going. And then we were still in the long distance relationship. We were keeping that alive and growing. I remember him sending me gift boxes to Frankfurt. Okay. And then there was this one evening where I received a nice big gift box and I opened it. And the first thing that comes out is a light up lip gloss. And he tells me, Miss America uses it. It's this and that. There's a light. And I was like, looks pretty cool. I like this. And then
it's an artistry product.
Yeah, the artistry light up lip gloss. And then the next thing I take out is the artistry skincare system. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'll use it. And then the third thing, I put my hand in and comes out the compound effect. And the fourth thing, I put my hand on magic of thinking big. And I'm like, what is this? So he says, oh, these are some amazing books. You should read them. You like reading? I think you really enjoy them. And I'm like, no, but I read fiction. This is not fiction. He's like, just give it a try. And here's a tip. It's okay to give things a try, whether you like it or not. So I love reading, but I was never into positive mental attitude books. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. It's not like, I'm running $1 million business. So I do have spare time. I'm going to read it. And I started reading. And once I started reading Magic of Thinking Big, it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. Because remember, I was still living that life of quiet desperation. So it actually gave wings to my thoughts. I was like, wow, I can do some big things in life. I mean, there is a means to do it. This is not the be all and end all, right?
And that's the tip, guys. If you are in a relationship and you guys are, getting serious about a relationship, and if you're an IBO in this webinar, you want to make sure you identify the right partner for your life and the right partner for your business. If you have high ambitions in business and you find the right partner for your life, but that doesn't gel well with the business, you have to either sacrifice and compromise one of the two, life or business. In our case, me and Shweta, and the reason I sent her those gifts and the book alongside is because my goal was not just to talk to her about Amway or Dream Team leadership. It's the value system underneath that one has to subscribe to. The what and how doesn't matter. I wanted to first make sure that she gets thinking in that direction. And here's a second tip, for which I'm very proud of Shweta. Okay. She has an independent personality of her own. She could have easily said, I read fiction books. I'll read one of these books one of these days. If that would have happened, if you're a smart IBO, that's a yellow flag that needs to be addressed. But if you do not address that, guess what? You are actually getting into a lifelong partnership, knowing that one side of your business is always going to be crippled. In Shweta's case, she didn't bat an eyelid. She's like, sure, if Santosh is doing something that is something of value, he's telling me to read a book, what's the big deal? If he's telling me there's some meaning, I'm going to read it. That's the kind of relationship that I define as a very healthy relationship. If a couple is in a relationship and both of them should have independent thinking, but if the path that they take is only a parallel road that never meets, what's the point of a relationship? The definition of relationship is you get to identify and accomplish your individual goals, but alongside you also have common goals, and you both are willing to work in collaboration to accomplish those goals.
Absolutely, and that's a great tip, Santosh. Thank you for sharing that. So that's how our relationship continued. Then eventually, we were like so tired of being away from each other. We decided to get married, and I said, "Hey, let's go to India, get married." And then we both flew to India, and we met after so many years in person. And I remember seeing him after so long and thinking, I remembered that college guy, and he remembered me as that college girl, and we had changed so much, in our appearance and our thinking. And, I'm like, wow, is this person for real? He's standing right here next to me, because I was so used to his voice. I was in love with his voice. And here he was physically in front of me.
Man.
Yeah.
I have a very melodious voice, I think. Okay, that's good.
Because, hey, we kept talking on the phone, remember? But there we were. And then we decided to get married. We wanted to finance our own wedding. So we did that. Although Indian parents, they wanted to do it for us. We were like,
and our parents were very supportive. Our parents were very supportive. Of course, they were very, of course, initially there were all these questions, but both our parents were very graceful, very supportive in having us go our way. And they completely confided in us. They didn't think of us as, small kids, they don't know what decisions to make. No, they confided in us. They are like, these are adults. We got to give them their freedom. They know what choices to make in life. And that's how we took it forward.
And we financed our own wedding. We had a beautiful wedding in a 5-star hotel in Mumbai. Again, that's a long story, but, power of visualization, something that I think I was already good at in that even before I got into the business, because I always wanted a 5-star wedding. And, it so happened that the venue that we had booked, it was a good one. It was 4-star. It was not 5. Remember, I wanted 5-star. And I kept thinking and I kept speaking that it's happening. And the last minute, what happens is, for some reason, that 4-star venue, the hotel, something happens and they say, sorry, ma'am, this is not going to be available on that day. So, but we have our 5-star hotel ready. So you can actually use that for the wedding venue. And I was like, perfect. I had to act like, I couldn't do that in front of them. So I was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, sure. Can I see that venue? But in my mind, I was like, man, that's it. That's what I wanted. Power of visualization. It works. Power of spoken words works. And then we were bumped up to that and we had a beautiful wedding. And then, of course, came to the US. And so begins our married life. It was fun. It was great. But I got married into the business. From day one, Santosh set the right standards at home. He never shied away from the fact that he was putting a business together. And from day one, it was made he communicated very clearly that this is what he chooses to do with his life. And I was okay with it. He never pushed me or forced me. But at the same time, he always nudged and encouraged me to be on the same page as him, to read those books, to listen to audios, to plug into the system. In fact, my first FNH. So when I came to the US, the week after that, there was a Memorial Day celebration in Dallas. And we were in New Jersey at that time. And we took a flight and came to Dallas. And it was, we had to attend the FNH at Anurag and Mitika's house that night. And then the next day, we were going to a state park and all of that fun. So I fly to Dallas. I have no idea what an FNH is. He just told me it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And the flight, he tells me, oh, by the way, that FNH that I was talking about, you are one of the speakers. So here is a book. Why don't you read a few pages and talk on this book? And I looked at him and I'm like, okay, so are there going to be other speakers too? And he goes, yes. I'm like, okay. And I had 2 hours on the flight. It was a 2-hour flight, 2 or 3 hours. I actually opened the book, read it. I didn't even read it for 2 hours. Maybe I read it for an hour, highlighted some points. And there I was at the FNH, in my first FNH, meeting all my uplines, Anurag and Mitika, Ravi Arati for the first time. And there I am talking on a book in front of that crowd. And in that moment, it would have been easy for me to say, what FNH? This is my first meeting. I don't want to talk in this. Let me at least go and see what it is. Some of us, even to attend the first FNH, there's so much of convincing that's required. But I hope you step up when you're given the opportunity. You don't chicken out, right? Because it doesn't take a lot of effort, guys. It's all right here. 2 hours on the flight. What would you do? Nothing, right?
And I would always like to applaud Shweta till date, okay? She's been a very proactive partner in business, you guys, okay? When I used to go out for DTMs in the evening after work hours, I didn't have to convince her. Neither did I even tell her that come with me. She took the charge, like, hey, you're going out. Let me come out. Let me see what you're doing. And that's been a big blessing. Okay. I remember she learning DTM and stuff like that while we were going out. But never once did she have hesitation, sure. But she understood what I was trying to accomplish for myself and for both of us through this business. Matter of fact, even before we got married, while we were in a long distance relationship, on my birthday, she actually sent me a vision, a newspaper article cutout that actually talks about us as the next successful entrepreneur. And she knows the kind of house that I wanted. And that newspaper cutout article actually talks about us as the next big scale entrepreneur, having a house, living this way. It was so real. You have a winner, you have a partner when even if she doesn't know what business I'm a part of, she connected with the dream and goals that I had in my life. And guess what? She put a cutout and sent me that. And I think that was the best birthday gift I've ever gotten in my life. Okay. That, man, it's going to be a fun ride with this partner the rest of my life, because you know what? It's not just a living life together. It's living and accomplishing dreams together. That's what marriage has been for us. Okay.
Yep. And before I pass it to him, just a couple of things I want to share about him. See, both of us, we never babysat each other. We never did that. He never did that to me. I never did that to him. He set the right standards in our household. I remember when I was still new to the country, there was an FNH and he was not feeling well, but he still said, no, I'm going. And obviously I went with him too. I never missed an FNH. But that day I saw this man who was so passionate about what he was doing. And if you're a husband and wife or a couple building this business together, know that if this is the guy that you've chosen, and if something matters to him so much, it must be something right. As long as it's ethical, it's value based, it's not something that's wrong. Why would you hesitate? Don't be that spouse who is the hurdle and obstruction in your spouse's growth. Be the one who can give wings to your spouse's dreams and goals. And you don't just be supportive, actually be proactive. Okay, so he set the right example, and I'm so proud of him for doing that. He always set the right example. He edified my uplines, Ravi and Aarti and Rag and Mitika, everybody. The way he edified
Nitin
Nitin Nandana.
in fact, some of the initial experiences and friendship that Shweta was able to build with Nandan was very
The way he edified them, he put them on a pedestal. And I am very thankful to him for doing that, because of that, I still remember when I first spoke to Aarti, I was like nervous. I'm like, will she, what do I say to her? Is there, what kind of questions is she going to ask me? But of course, Aarti was so sweet. She just made me feel so comfortable. In fact, maybe Santosh told her I like movies. So she actually talked about
talk about relatability, right? So
talked about some movie actors. So it was fun. But that's how you want to edify your uplines, so that, and you want to do the same thing with your team as well, not just your spouse, because that's the only way your team will look up to your upline.
All right.
I do have a few other things to talk about, but I'll give it to Santosh to share his version of the story now.
Yes. Now it's my time to come correct a few things, tell the right things and whatnot. Okay. Anyways, folks, of course, you heard where we come from. Just like Shweta, I was also born and brought up in the financial capital, the entertainment capital of India. Very passionate about Mumbai. When I look back, the personality that I have, of course, I attribute a lot to my upbringing, but more importantly, I attribute a lot to the city where I was born and brought up. Because that city truly teaches you the survival of the fittest. And of course, it's a fantastic place to be, learn, and grow. But of course, I was born in a highly educated. Me and Shweta come from different ends of the spectrum, right? I come from, if you look at my last name, okay, I come from a Tambram family. Okay, Ayers are known for education, and my family is a stellar example of that. Of course, my dad, both my parents are very well educated. My dad, my mom she finished her commerce from a top college in Mumbai in a time where it was not fashionable for women to actually graduate higher degrees in their profession. And my mom made a choice to work right from the day of 18, 19. Okay. And as I said, a very unconventional choice, but of course, my grandparents were very supportive. My dad comes from an engineering background. He graduates from a top university in the south of India. It's called REC Trichy. I think it's NIT right now, but a very celebrated college. He graduates from there. He one thing that I've always seen about my dad is he's a man with a lot of dreams, a lot of drive, a lot of a burning desire to succeed. And I think a lot of it, I actually got it from him. Being born in a small town in south of India, he comes all over to Mumbai, in pursuit of a good job, a better career, and eventually ends up working in his corporate career. He started working as an electronics engineer. Eventually, he retired as a senior general manager for a top telecom company in India. And I'm very proud of the upbringing that both my mom and dad have given me. When I look at my mom, she's been a disciplinarian right from day one. Okay. The reason I aced my school is not because of extra noodles up here. The reason I aced my school is because my mom used to discipline me to read chapters one semester or 1 year before the next year's chapters. Okay. If you know how that works in India, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. I was made to rehearse chapters back. I could actually tell you chapters backward, from backwards, to the front page.
So if you're in first grade, you're already reading books from second grade.
Exactly. And that was my mom. She was a disciplinarian. And I'm so thankful for that, because that helped me ace my classes. Was acing the class important? Not really. But consistently acing my school and eventually even acing my college helps me to build a self-image that cannot be bought even by paying a premium dollar out there. They say this is a self-image business. Where do you get your self-image from? Either you get it from your upbringing or you have to consciously develop that, right? And I attribute a lot to my parents for doing that. I still remember my mom was the first person to inculcate the habit of reading. In my summer vacations, I had a task. You got to read this book, you got to do this stuff, and do some extracurricular. Only then I was allowed to go out to play with my friends down. And I remember those days, and very thankful. Looking back, see, at that time I did not like it, but looking back, when you connect the dots, it's a lot of value, right? Some of you guys right now are attending EWs, FNH, doing MG1s, doing some product retail. You might not get results right away, but the question is, are you willing to stay consistent? Take the leadership of your upline coach so that a few years from now, when you look back in retrospective, you're able to connect the dots and you know that, man, thank God I was steady. Thank God I did not drop the towel. Okay. And, one thing that I always got from my dad was always a best friend to me. Okay. In most households, if the kid is misbehaving, the mom says, if you don't behave properly, I'll tell dad. In my house, it was the reverse. If I misbehave, my dad told me, if you misbehave more, I'll tell mom. Because the mom was a disciplinarian in my house. Okay, and my dad was a best friend. Okay, till date, he's like a buddy. I can put my hand around the shoulder, walk, and talk about anything that I have in my mind. But one thing specifically that I got from my dad was that ambition. I remember he used to travel to different places because of his work. He used to come back and all the time talk to me about growth in life, progress, why you should not be a stalemate, why you should not live your life on a maintenance mode, why you should always keep progressing. Whether you succeed or not doesn't matter, but are you hustling? That drive, that desire, that ambition was inculcated in my subconscious ever since I was 3, 4, 5 years of age. Some of you sometimes might think, man, I don't have a why in this business. I like the business, I like the products, I like the team, but I don't have a strong desire. That's why they say, if you don't have a strong desire, hang around people who have a strong desire. You will eventually rub your shoulders with them, and eventually it will help you to develop a strong desire for yourself. That's what happened between me and my dad. I was able to develop such a strong desire of succeeding. I didn't know what to succeed in. I was that small at that time, but I always knew, man, I had to succeed in life. I had to move forward. I had to ace in life. And that drive was always there. In whatever I do, I wanted to be a top. And I thank my dad for doing that. Okay, but of course, eventually I fast forward in my life, finished my bachelor's. The only reason I went engineering is because my dad had a stellar example. He did his engineering from a top school. I could not go to a top school in India, but you know what? I found a school where I could get complete scholarship, and it was not. I had some schools like BJTI and Sardar Patel in Bombay. People from Bombay, you know what I'm talking about. Where I could actually enroll, but they did not have scholarship programs. And the university that I chose was a good university in Mumbai, but that had a complete scholarship. I didn't want to burden my parents with the tuition fees. And initially, I was a little disconnected. I was like, man, I didn't get the top tier school of my choice. But looking back in hindsight, if I would have gone to a top tier school, this lady would not be sitting right next to me today in this seminar. Again, connecting the dots. Sometimes you might not get all the answers to your situations in life, your situations in business right then and there. But are you willing to go with the flow? Are you willing to take things on faith? Are you a faith-driven person or a fear-driven person? If you look at it, faith and fear both are the same. Both of them believe in the unseen. But are you consciously focusing on being operated by faith? When you operate by faith, you will always end up in a point where you'll be glad that you stood steady. And that's what I did. As you heard from Shweta, okay, that's how my DTM with Shweta was, I think, the best DTM, okay, that I could have ever done in my life. Okay. Matter of fact, come on, let's cut the chase here. Okay. The minute I saw her and I found the opportunity to sit right next to her in the bench in the college, then and there I realized that this was the girl that I'm going to spend the rest of my life. It just took her a few years to figure that out. Okay. Because hey, I was looking. Okay. I was in my second year and I was looking for talent in the university. Okay. And boy, what a talent I've got. Okay. I've definitely married up. But I'll tell you what, in the college, it was, of course, a fun time. A couple of experiences that I'd like to just share is when we were in college, both of us used to host, compare events on stage. And she was, of course, the more, people's choice in terms of hosting. Not because of the skill and talent. Both of us have the same skill and talent in hosting, but because of the looks. Okay, she always had that added feather to the hat because of that. And I remember one time when I was actually hosting an event, and I was in the middle of hosting an event. Okay, for the cultural activity in my college. And she comes from the backstage because she was called upon by somebody just to help something on the stage. So she comes on the stage. The minute the public sees her, I'm hosting. Suddenly, a random group of people start shouting her name. And you know how mob mentality works in colleges, right? A random group of people start shouting her name. Now that just increases. More and more people shouting her name that they want her to be hosting the session. I was in the middle of hosting, you guys, and I had to just gracefully call her, hand over the mic to her, and just sit on a chair in the corner of the stage. Okay, that was my mic drop moment. Okay, of my life, and that still continues till date. Okay, but you know what? Hey, you were excited. What's the the fun part is, hey, we married up. I'm so excited to have a winner as my life partner. Okay, there was some singing competitions. She spoke about the first date. Man, I had to earn my first date. I participated in a singing competition. I sang a very upbeat, fancy number, a Bollywood song, and I won the competition. She was in the crowd watching all of this. And when I came down and asked her for a date, she couldn't say no. She was flat out with my singing skills. Okay, not that I sing great, but I won the competition.
And then we went to the college canteen and we ate misal pav.
For people in Mumbai, you know what is misal pav. Okay, that is the best food that street food that you could have. Okay, it still waters my mouth. Okay, when I think about it, misal pavs are the best. Okay, it doesn't matter where you go. But as we move forward, of course, Shweta spoke about it. We entered into a long distance relationship because I chose to go abroad for my masters, and I till date thank my mom and dad. Okay, for having enough financial backing to send me to do my masters without me having to take a single dollar or single rupee in debt. And you know why? Because most students who go abroad and finish their masters, they start their life with a huge negative pile of debt. I never had to do any of that because my parents, I'm so thankful for my parents that they were able to take care of it in entirety. I could start from ground zero when I graduated from my college, and that's where I saw my college life was a whole new ball game. Okay, trying to short circuit and forward it faster. Okay, I was able to see my first semester in university was more like apartment to department, and then the evening department back to apartment. And that's exactly the circle that I was following. Okay, there was not much going on in my life. I had to figure out to do a lot of things myself. I found out an odd job working in a cafeteria as a barista, not just making and serving coffee for people, but also cleaning their dishes and tables once they are done with their food. Okay, talk about why. Sometimes we feel I only do things that I'm passionate about. When I think about, was I passionate about cleaning tables and serving coffee as a barista? I don't think I was. But they say necessity is the mother of all invention. That's why we say in our business, why is more important than the what and how? What is your need? At that time, making an extra buck was the number one priority for me. I could keep passion in the back burner. I had to do things that could get things done. Right? And was I out of my comfort zone? Oh boy, I was absolutely out of my comfort zone in the first semester of masters. Okay, never been to a new country, new language, new accent, everything was new. But I realized, when I look back today, my coach is telling things to me, rings in my ears, that hey, there is no growth in the comfort zone, but at the same time, there is no comfort in the growth zone. Which zone do you choose to be in? That matters a lot. Right? We chose to be in the growth zone every single day. Will we be uncomfortable? Yes, but achieving something out of that would be way worth it. Okay, and that, of course, that's that's the university where I got a chance to meet a good friend of mine who eventually became a good friend. But I got to meet him from a common connection. Eventually, he happens to become the sponsor of my sponsor in the business, Nitin Mohan. Of course, Nitin was single at that time. And I remember me and him again, cultural activities, getting together for some university work, cultural activities, and having some fun time together, one time out of the blue. And, of course, outside of my master's, I was still kind of on the lookout. I was trying to figure out my life. But one fine evening, he gives me a call. He comes back fresh from a conference. Okay. And he gives me a call saying that, hey, you know what? There is a meeting today evening. I will, I know you've always been thinking about business. There is a meeting Tuesday evening at this place. And we were all, on the verge of graduation, almost done with studies. There's a meeting in this place. I want you to come and take it out. I said, what meeting is it about? It's a business meeting. I asked him, do they have dinner served? He said, yes. And guess what? That's why I actually went with him to attend the workshop. Can you believe it? If he would have said dinner is not served that evening, I was not really in a mood to really check out a business project. Okay, let's be honest right here. Okay, I went there, and I'll tell you what, the only thing that I take back from that meeting is, man, a lot of excitement, circles drawn, a lot of professionals. I did not even remember the name of the companies discussed. But one thing that I took back from that meeting was, wow, bunch of excited people. I saw young professionals like myself who were already just began their corporate journey and also excited about doing something part-time. That was a chord that connected with me, right? That's why they say it's not about what you do in your process. It's not about how you do. It's not the technique that matters. It's what feeling, what connection, how do you connect with the person is all that matters. There's a saying that, in this BBS today, guys, okay, a lot of you guys would not remember what exactly we said. But if you were impactful, you will always remember how we made you feel. And that's what that workshop, that entrepreneurship workshop made us feel. It made me feel absolutely excited. Okay. And I remember Nitin, okay, connecting me with his upline. Okay. Who again connected me with his upline. And they, both of them, Nitin's upline and his upline, confirmed me for a conference that was coming up. And I was, just graduated, no job. I was like, man, I don't have money for the conference, but I did something and I attended my first conference. I drove, I think, a couple of hours with that upline. Okay. And then his upline flew in from a different city just to be with me for the conference. Entire 2 days, I did not understand anything. But one thing that I took back, okay, was one speaker. Okay, a lot of you guys know Bill Britt, his younger brother, Bobby Britt. Okay, he just came on stage. He said something. I did not understand again all the clarity, but the energy, the passion, and a few ideas that he talked about business and life absolutely connected with me. The whole conference, you asked me what are the other speakers speak. I made a lot of notes because I had to, I was told, but I did not connect with the whole bunch. But one speaker made a lot of difference to me. That's why they say, never underestimate the power of an association in this business. Never underestimate the power of a conference in this business, because you never know who is that one person with whom you're going to relate, with whom you're going to strike a chord with. And after that, your perspective of business will completely change. So on the way back, I remember, coming back with both the uplines, okay? Coming back home, talking to them about, man, what a business, life of possibilities and stuff like that. Okay. Right after the conference, I was not launched yet. I didn't have money. I remember telling my upline that, hey, you know what, can you wait for 2 weeks? I'm going to find an odd job. I actually found an odd job in a gas station, made some extra bucks, so that after 2 weeks, I called my upline back, saying that, hey, I have the money now. Can you please launch me? Okay. Talk about accountability. Sometimes we feel, oh, okay, this guy's gone. He's not going to come back. But I continued to maintain that relationship, and he also was continuously communicating. But it was easy for me not to get back. But the impact of the conference was totally at a different level. I got launched in the business. Today, long story short, so me and Nitin have a couple of uplines above us. Both the uplines who actually took me to my first conference are no longer in the business today. Okay, but guess what, guys? That didn't dampen my spirit. At that time, I was so new in the business. I didn't know what was going on, how, why, what. But that never dampened our spirit to actually continue and build and continue and finish what we started. Okay, a moral of the story: your guarantee in this business is not your upline. Your guarantee in this business is definitely not your downline. Your guarantee in this business is you yourself. Your work ethic, your hustle is your only guarantee in this business. Okay. And that's a quote by Double Diamonds Ganesh that I just quoted right now. Okay. You are your only guarantee in the business. And that is such a true statement. Okay. But that's how we began our journey. We had to unlearn a lot of things and grow in the process.
Absolutely. And, just to continue from where he left, right? So When I was new and when I didn't know the skill set, I made sure that I put myself out there and got busy in the activity. There was this. So when in my first year in the business, we had just one car, and he would take that car to work, and I was still working on my work visa, so I was not working at that time. And I said work too many times, right? But we just had one car at that time. He would take it to work. And then, since I was home by myself pretty much the entire day from 9 to 5, instead of just, doing random things and taking a nap in the afternoon, what I chose to do? There was a Walmart near our house, a few miles away. It would take like 10-15 minutes to walk and go. I said, let me just walk and go there. It'll take me 10-15 minutes, but I can spend there an hour, a good hour or two, and do some DTMs and make connections. So I actually would walk every afternoon after I was done with my lunch and everything. I would walk there and be in some of those some of those stores, just learning to make new connections. And then I would be there until 5 o'clock for like 1 or 2 hours. I would go there by 3 or 3:30, and then I'd be there till 5 o'clock. And Santosh would come back from work and pick me up in his car, and then we would drive back home. And I did this day in and day out, month in and month out. And that was the best learning experience for DTMs. Today, if you ask me anything about DTMs, the reason I can so confidently share about DTMs and tell you and show you how to do it is because I've messed up a lot in those initial days. I did some crazy things, people would say, hey, you asked me the same question last week. And was I prepared? Did my upline teach me how to handle that objection? Not really. Did my upline teach me how to break the ice and deepen and all of those? Not really. I just went there and started talking. And when I got this weird question once in a while, I would just smile and say, oh yeah, because I still haven't found that store, whatever I was asking for. And I just laugh and walk away. And that built my self-image. So understand, failure is so important for you to build your self-image, right? So it's okay to fail. It's not okay to be a failure. But without failure, there is no other way to succeed. That's the only way to succeed. See, when you're an entrepreneur, you face your fears every single day. And you fail and you soar. And sometimes you do that simultaneously. And that's what we did in the beginning. Okay. I remember my first retail. My upline Nandana, she came and she said, hey, let's book one session and then I can come and help you out. And we booked one. Okay. Santosh helped me book the session. And we went to this, that lady gave me her address. We went for a skin analysis session. And it was my first ever skin analysis session. And Nandana comes in with her SAM machine. And then we go to that address in New Jersey. It was in Newark. If you know how, okay, some of us. So Newark is,
it's a fun place.
Okay, let's just keep it at that. A fun, interesting place. And it was, that address where that lady lived, it was pretty shady.
So me and Nitin drove Shweta and Nandana to the event. And while Shweta and Nandana went inside the room to do the skin analysis, me and Nitin were scared out of our wits. We were inside the car. Okay. I think Nitin tells me that he heard some gunshots. Okay, I don't know. But we were scared. We were sitting inside the car. We locked the car. But guess what? That was the locality where we went.
Yeah, okay, but we were warrior princesses, right? So we went inside and we did the SAM. And I was nervous as well looking at the area. But we did the SAM. We retailed like 30 PV. We walk out. The first thing Nandana tells me is, get in the car. Before I can even celebrate, I'm like, okay, I run inside the car. We lock the car. And then we're like, hey team, look at this. We, what a champion, this, that, we leave a message, video message, and we celebrate. But we made sure our cars were locked first before we celebrate. Okay. That was our first SAM. But I'm so thankful to Nandana for doing that for us. And then the second SAM, the second retail session, I had to do it myself. That was the only one session that my upline ever did for me. That's it. The second session, I had my own SAM machine. I invested into a $300 SAM machine and I went and did it myself. So some of us, we are waiting for that perfect moment, because we want our upline to keep doing it. And so we want to perfect it. There is no perfection. There's only progression. So don't wait for your upline to keep showing you how to do the same thing again and again. If your upline has shown it once and created success once, that's enough for you to understand that it works and you can do it. That's it. You don't want to sit on it and make your upline show it to you for the 10th time. Okay. So the second time I go and do it myself, I have my own skin analysis machine and I get a good retail of 70 PV. And then I come back and guess what? Few hours later, that lady calls me. She's very upset for some reason because she changed her mind. People change their mind all the time. And she says, I want to return the product. My first ever session by myself. And what do I do in a moment like this? I say, okay, was I mad? Was I angry? Absolutely. But I went there, I gave her the money back, I took the product back. And I remember being so mad in the car. And I think I called Nandana as well at that time. I told her what happened. I told Santosh. And Santosh was like, it's okay. And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove it to myself that I can make this thing work. So you can use that energy in two ways. You can say, I give up. This is not for me. It doesn't work. Or you can say, I'm going to prove it to myself that I can do it. Right? So.
And saying, guys, my first experience of doing DTM was funny. Okay. I was walking with my, one of my uplines, okay, in a mall. And he was introducing me to the concept of conversations. I had done a few of those before, but now I'm learning how to have conversations. Okay. And he told me, hey, there's a sharp guy walking in front of us. Why don't you talk to that guy? I said, sure, not a problem. And he was almost like 50, 60 feet away from us. So we were approaching each other. Okay. So the 50 feet became 40 feet. I said, sure, I want to talk right now. 40 became 30, 20 feet, 5 feet, minus 5 feet, minus 20, minus 40, and the guy went away. And I remember telling my upline, you know what, upline, don't worry about it. He has a low self-image. He did not even see us. Okay. So the point is, we've had our learning curve. Okay. But did I let that experience bog me down? No, I did not let that bog me down. I learned from it. And I said, hey, what's the big deal? I got to do the next one. I'll get better in the next one. Some IBOs, sometimes we kind of take it too personally. Oh, I went today evening for conversations and I could not get any number. People were not too friendly. Hey, rather than flip that, how about you kind of just say that, hey, I was good. People were having a bad day. No big deal. Tomorrow is going to be a fresh day and I'm going to have some good conversations. Don't let it stick to you. Grow from it. Grow better from it. Do not grow bitter from it. Okay. My first MG1, I remember doing it for my A-list. Okay. I went into his apartment, sat with him. They say effective plans have to be wrapped up in an hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. After 2 hours, 45 minutes is when I actually wrapped up the plan. And he right away gave his credit card to me, hands up. He's like, do whatever you want. I need to go to sleep. That was my first MG1, guys. And trust me, he actually launched in the business. Needless to say, the guy is no longer in the business. Okay. In our journey to platinum, you'll not see him. But I'll tell you what, that boosted my confidence. I was like, man, if I can launch one IBO in my team all by myself, I can launch 100 more. What's the big deal? It's all about the way you look at it. If I can do one thing successfully, I might have not done it perfectly, but if I did it successfully and completed it, man, I can perfect it in the next 100 times. It's not a big deal. Okay. I remember my first long distance trip and that was fun. Okay. I launched an IBO I was in the East Coast working in Boston. I launched an IBO in Connecticut. I launched an IBO in Boston, C-list, complete C-list. Launched him and his friend used to live in Connecticut. That's another 5-6 hours of drive. We left from Boston, me and that new IBO, we left to his friend's house in Connecticut. I did the whole plan. We had a conference that was coming up in a city called Rochester, New York. For those who know New York, Rochester is a stone's throw, very close to Niagara Falls. So when I went and sat down with that new couple who was an A-list to my team member, it was a couple, husband, wife, they were new to the country from India. I was talking about the business plan. And towards the end, when I was promoting the conference, I said, hey, it's happening in Rochester, New York. You know what? Attending a conference is like you going to Niagara Falls. I cannot throw a bucket of water in your head and tell you that this is Niagara Falls. You got to go to Niagara Falls to experience that. That's why conference. I was promoting the conference, but something else was cooking in their head. They were thinking, wow, Niagara Falls. Man, Niagara Falls, first experience. And I was naive. I could not identify. At that time, nobody taught me how to do yellow flag identification. I'm like, great, let's go, man. New couple confirmed for the conference. And I rented this big 7-seater van. Now you got to understand, that's my first rental, okay? Long distance, 5-6 hours drive again to Rochester, New York. I think 7-8 hours drive to Rochester, New York. And then we reached the venue. And right after we reached the venue, the new couple whom I confirmed, they changed the deal. They're like, we need to first go to Niagara Falls and then we'll come for the conference. It was, I was in splits at that time. I didn't know I was in the crossroad. But you know what? I still remember so vividly. I didn't have to talk to an upline. I told them, you know what, why don't you go? You have the rental car, go. I'm going to have to sit at the conference. And I remember a few of my uplines were there and I sat with them in the conference. No team member, because my new team member also went with the couple to Niagara Falls. And I remember several such incidences, right? When we moved recently to Dallas, we put a first batch of 5 IBOs, and young, fresh graduates, pretty much kind of, born in this country kind of people, okay? Young people. But just because I was good in launching people in the business does not mean that I was good in retaining them. That was the learning curve that me and Shweta went through. We put a fresh batch of 5 people in Dallas, and then eventually, of course, that batch is no longer there in the business. I remember going to a conference with that batch. Out of the team of 5 in Dallas, only 3 people came. And in the middle of the conference, one of the IBOs, unfortunately, his dad had to be hospitalized. And because he decided to leave the conference and drive back, 2 of the other IBOs who also was with him, they were his best friends. They decided to drive back with him as well. And there you go. We were again in another conference, sitting hollow from the inside. We were like, man, we had IBOs confirmed. We drove 9 hours to the conference with those IBOs. And within 2 hours of the conference, they got the news and they all left back, and we were left sitting hollow in the conference. These were defining moments, guys. While some IBOs would have just dropped the towel and they'd be like, oh, the business is difficult, it's going to take time. We understood the why. We were systematized. We realized that we were not just fair weather IBOs. We were IBOs for life, right? We were not IBOs just because the business is growing, so I'm excited. The business had its sinusoidal curve, but we realized to stay consistent and persistent.
Absolutely. I remember expecting my first one when I was pregnant with my first older one, having the, actually being on my feet and doing whatever it takes until the day of my delivery. And I know the society did not understand that. They did not like that. They thought I was crazy, but it's okay. They don't hear the music that you're dancing to. You are hearing the music that you're dancing to. And as long as you're hearing it, you're fine. Okay. Society expected me to sit at home, put my feet up and rest on a pregnancy pillow. And I did that. But after I did all the things that I needed to do in my business, we drove 8 hours to a conference in my 8th month of pregnancy with my first one. And we did whatever it takes, to be honest, because you don't question the price. If you have your eyes on the bigger prize, you don't question the price. Okay. And then I remember we starting our, of course, when there was this follow-up that we had to do in Houston, which was a 5-hour drive from Dallas. And we drove to Houston just to do an in-person follow-up with that person. And guess what? That person did not even open the door. That person was non-existent. And then he texted, sorry, I forgot. I was outside, blah, blah, blah.
And we had driven to Houston several times before that as well.
Yeah, we drove 5 hours. And this guy was not even home. Okay. And me and Santosh, we look at each other and we're like, okay, let's just go and make some new connections in the city. And we go out there, and that day, we were a little bit mad from the inside. So I remember just talking and making a lot of connections. And there was this one lady that I saw, and I asked her something because I was doing a DTM, and she said, I don't know, I'm new. So I don't know. I said, okay. And I just walked away because I felt
like some directions.
Yeah, I asked for directions, and she said, I don't know, I'm new. So I said, okay, I don't think I was not feeling comfortable to continue the conversation. So I just walked away. And then 5 or 10 minutes later, this lady comes behind me. I don't know where. I don't know if she was following me or what, but somehow she ended up behind me. She pats my back and she says, excuse me, you asked me for directions. Here is my husband. He knows. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I had spoken to so many people. So I was trying to recollect who, when did I talk to her? I'm like, okay. And that couple was Raghu and Chaitanya. They are moving on to 4,000, moving on to Eagle from Houston. and amazing leadership. So proud of this couple, always leading their team from the front, serving heart, and staying true to their purpose. Right? I remember us going online and leveraging LinkedIn for connections. And there was this once we were at a conference with Four Legs, and Chuck Kakani had called us on stage.
ADC's
Chuck Kakani. And he said something about not going ego. And that was like, from the inside, we were like, okay. So we went back home and I started making a lot of connections. And I sent maybe, 30, 40 connections that evening. And out of those connections came out a young single guy called Hari Krishna Kotadia, right here in Dallas, Texas. What a champion. What a champion. We cherish his friendship and relationship in our life. I think he's moving on big time.
There's 1,000 people in the business, of course, moving on to BFI and beyond.
And sometimes we think, right, I sent 30 connections, nothing happened. Keep doing it. You never know where you find your champions.
And, of course, Shweta was talking about Raghu and Chaitanya, of course, one of the most poised, composed leaders in our team. Part of their team, I remember launching a couple of IBOs, from his list. None of them really materialized. Some of them got launched. They were there in the business for some time, didn't do much. Then eventually, 2 to 3 levels deep, I got a number of a person who just came to Texas as a student. And that guy was there in business for some time. We built a good friendship. And eventually, he gave the number of another person with whom he sat in the flight from India to Texas. And both of them were coming to do masters together. Okay. And it happened to be a girl. And we got started talking with the girl. We took her the process. We invited her to the EW. She got launched right after the EW. Okay. Student, just a month in the country. And, of course, her name is Jeevan Jyot. She's a young single champion in our team. She's been through her ups and downs in personal, professional life. Job challenges, health challenges, you talk about it. But she's been a pillar of strength for her own self, for her own business. And not just, of course, she has a fast growing team right now in Texas. Part of her team is new 1,000 PV Anand Ravi from Dallas. And, of course, part of his team, we have a young girl all the way far away from Raleigh, North Carolina, who's actually making a strong move to BFI as well. But along all of this journey, of course, we also got introduced and started building our Team Australia. We have some warriors and champions coming up strong in Australia. Swapnil Patel, who's, of course, 2,000 PV moving on to higher levels in India. And, of course, he has a team of champions and, young IBUs coming up. And, of course, part of other organizations are also Shiva and Vasudha and, a bunch of other players who are coming up strong in Australia. Did we plan this out? We did not plan this out. But it eventually pans out in a way where as long as you're consistent with the effort, guess what? You will eventually get the rewards. If you're planting a seed, do not count the number of days it's inside under the soil. Plant the seed with a happy heart, consistently nurture, water, fertilizer with a happy heart. It will grow up and give you the harvest.
Yep. And on similar lines, there was this one couple that we had personally launched right here in Dallas. And that couple is no longer in the business. But through them, we found a champion couple, Lakshman and Saranya, right here in Dallas. And what do I talk about this couple? They're moving on a fast track, but the heart that Lakshman has for people and for the team, it's unbeatable, unmatchable. And we're so proud of them, and we know they're coming up strong. And then
they were new GTL qualifiers, and they're moving on to BBI 2500 PV in a hurry. Very proud of them.
Yeah. Another single girl, Nagashri. This is one lady who, you have to be careful what you tell her, because she will actually do everything that you say. And that's called as being teachable and being naive, no matter where you are in life. And I'm so proud of her for just coming out like a champion through everything that she has gone through and growing herself and her business right here. Okay.
And of course, part of Lakshman's team also that Shweta was talking about, we have, of course, a phenomenal couple, of course, Bharat and Aishwarya, a very loyal, steadfast couple. I remember Bharat doing appointments, not just in the US market in the evening time, but taking time out of lunch breaks in the afternoon and doing MG1s, MG2s, pre-screen calls in the India market. Not 1 month, not 2 months, month after month for a few years. And you know what? The outcome is self-evident, guys. Today, of course, they have a fast-growing team. Bharat's own brother, Sai Chaitanya, is a 4,000 PV in the India market. He has he's proved himself by, of course, going through ups and downs in business. But he's come out better and victorious from that journey. Of course, he has a team of champions. Part of his team, Shalini. If you want to define discipline and consistency anywhere in a book, I would definitely vote Shalini's name. A consistent LQ qualifier, always having the right mindset and moving forward in a big way to BFI. A part of Sai's other organization is, of course, Nutan and Naveen. Of course, they are brothers. But not just are they having, of course, new launches and new signups, but here is a team, Nutan and Naveen, who are willing to develop their mindset and take their mindset up to the next level. They are changing. I learned this from my upline. When can you change your upline's role in the business? Only when you learn to change your role in your business. And I'm so proud of this team, Nutan and Naveen, who are willing to do that. And of course, quite a few other IBOs in the team, but we know Sai is earning his stripes as he moves on to BBI and Eagle in a strong way in India market.
Yep. And
such is the.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I was just talking about, of course, we're blessed with these champions and we're blessed with our uplines as well, our coaches and mentors. We chose to invest into those upline relationships as well. And I hope you do the same. When you have someone like a Dr. Ravi and Aarti and Anurag and Mithika and Nitin and Nandana in your life, I hope you don't take it for granted and you cherish that relationship and you invest into that relationship. Because understand, their love is, they say, right? My upline's love is unconditional, but my respect has to be earned. But if you take them for granted very often, their love will also become conditional, okay? Because they can choose to spend their time somewhere else, but they are the ones who taught us how to compartmentalize our life. Ravi and Aarti, they taught us how to compartmentalize our life. Aarti never babysat me. In fact, she always nudged me to move forward. No matter what I was going through, she would always tell me to take that one step forward. Okay. And then as
in our journey, right, talking about Ravi and Aarti, right, I'll tell you one thing, it took us, it took me a long time to understand how to work with people. Yes, there is dream team leadership, but having a coach by your side who truly understands you, understands your mindset and helps to elevate your mindset, is non-judgmental, does not look at you the way you are today, always looks at you as the way you can be tomorrow, is very, very key. And for us, our rich dad, our mentor was Ravi and Aarti for us. Okay, so many dynamics of how to work with people, how to leverage, how to bring out the best in people. All of these dynamics, I personally learned from Ravi. Not just one time listening to him, several times. Sometimes it took several hurdles for me to understand a few things. But I'm so glad that they were patient. They believed in us, and they always think of us as the horse in their team. Not just are we platinums in our journey, but we are definitely claiming to, of course, moving on to Q12 and Ruby in a strong way as we move forward. And that is what, in the journey that Shweta was talking about, when you build it with the right foundation, that's why we have BFI and BBI, guys. When we build it with the right foundation, moving further to the next level becomes a byproduct. I remember when we went 6,000 PV, right a few months after that, we went also brand new Eagles. Right after that, we hit 7,500 PV and we were able to go platinum at a stretch.
Right. And, I wanted to share something over here. Never underestimate the power of dreams and goals. Okay. Because we had a goal of going platinum 2 years before we actually went platinum. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. This is something that we put together on our dream board. We cut out a picture. We created this collage and we put our names over there. December 2018 is when we wanted to go. We wanted to be platinum that year in 2018, but it did not happen that year. It happened in 2020. Okay, but this stayed on our dream board. And why am I sharing this with you guys? Like I said, it's okay. Sometimes you may miss your goal, but as long as you keep dreaming and you have it clear in front of you, it will come true. So never underestimate the power of that. And then as we started our platinum qualification, as we moved on, 4 years into our 4 months, not 4 years, 4 months into our platinum qualification, COVID hit in 2020. And everything shut down. Everything went online. We had to learn a new way of doing things. And we were right there, just 2 more months left. And we were like, wow, okay, so the team has to go through a major change now. we got into this nice rhythm of closing our 7,500 PV, but now we have to get into a new rhythm to close the month. But now that was the moment where we could have just said, it's okay, we'll just stay gold and shoot for platinumship next year. Or we decided it's okay, let's learn some skills and lead from the front. And I remember learning how to do online assessments, online health assessments, skin assessments, online connections, online appointments, helping the team, everything online. Even the somebody from our team who lived just 2 blocks away, we had to connect with them online. But we learned how to do that, and that's what this business is all about. You do things, you fail, you learn, you do it again, and then you grow. You teach it to others, and then you grow. Okay, and that's how we were able to wrap up our platinumship. We closed month 5 and month 6, and we're excited. Our some of those people who said this won't work, or why are you wasting your time, including our friends and family, they were proud of us when they saw that. They were very proud of us when they saw that. And that'll happen to you guys as well. I got an emotional letter from my father-in-law after we went platinum that, we are so proud of you that you did not listen to us when we stopped you from going out and doing what you needed to do. And we wish you all the success. And what does something like this mean to you? To us, it means a lot. But we had to stay the course and stay steady in order for that to happen. If we had given up, we would never have seen something like this. Okay. And then I still remember making our first 4-figure check, actually way before platinum, but the first 4-figure check. And then, of course, making many more of these. I remember we, once we started making these 4-figure checks, we were able to take my parents on a fully paid trip to Taj Hotel in Mumbai for a few nights on their anniversary.
And I was able to do the same right after that.
Yeah. And I'll just to share a quick picture, who would like to treat your parents like that? We all like to do it for ourselves. But here are my mom and dad. They had a great time in the Taj Hotel Mumbai, sea facing, a few nights. I paid for this, not just for the stay, but even, they have some of the best restaurants in Taj, and, I paid for all of that, all their food and everything. Right. And I remember my mom sending me a text, this was the best anniversary. And we paid that through the business income. And not that you cannot do it through your job income, but most people are not thinking of these things when they just have a job. They're probably going to do the basics for their parents, but not thinking of doing a little bit extra.
And my parents were always about roaming and visiting different parts of the country. Okay. And I was able to, finance a portion of it, when they made a trip to Australia. I'm excited to see that I was able to, kind of finance a portion of that. Why? Because these are the goals where, you know that you're making income for a meaning. Okay. And that it sure gives you a certain element of satisfaction. Okay.
Yep. And exactly 1 year later, after we went platinum, there was this crazy COVID scene going on in India. And my mom and dad both got COVID. Dad recovered, came back home. My mom got serious. And I remember, of course, every day we would get calls from the doctor about how her health was. There was this one evening where we were speakers for the EW. And just 2 hours before the EW, I get a call from India that she's put on ventilator. So she's very serious. And that was a moment where I just had to, keep the faith alive. And Santosh asked me, do you want to do the EW? I said, yes, because what's the point of not doing it? That's not going to take the ventilator out of my mother. So, I remember we went ahead and did that EW as speakers. And of course, I don't know how much, a lot of my brain power was still thinking about my mom. And right after that EW, the minute we ended that EW, 5 minutes later, I got a call from India that my mom had passed away. And it was painful. It was very painful. But all I can say, and at that moment, Ravi and Aarti were in our house. They came right there. They were by my side when I was going through one of my toughest moments in life. And why am I sharing this with you? Because sometimes we go through stuff and we feel like, oh, you know what? I can't focus on business anymore. I can't attend the FNH because I have a headache. Or, I'm just too tired. You got to stay true to your purpose. The reason I did that EW that night, even though my mom was so critical, is because the audience that were promoting our event, They were looking forward to a training, and I owed it to them. I owed it to my team. They didn't know what was happening, and it would just not be fair on them if they didn't get what they were looking for. Okay, but she lived a great life, and I know that today the only thing she would want for us is to grow. The only thing she would want for me is to grow. And I'm so glad at least we wrapped up platinum and showed some success to her before she moved on, because she also never really understood the business in the beginning. But after we went platinum, she was proud of me. And I hope and pray that you're able to do the same for your family. Don't take too long, because there are people who are waiting to see you succeed. So they can stop complaining about you building the business. Okay. But we have been absolutely blessed. Some of the rewards that I want to talk about is because of the mentorship and, because of Ravi and Arti's mentorship and blessing, we were able to buy a beautiful house just last year. We moved into this beautiful house, and remember my love for movies. So we actually have a theater room now in our house. I'm just going to share this real quick. Okay, so if you're like me who love movies, get a theater room. Okay, but again, that doesn't mean we watch movies every night in this room. We love it. It has Bose sound speaker system and all of that. It has a beautiful screen. I'm just going to share this real quick. Right. Huge screen, Bose surround sound system, 3D as well. So we have 3D glasses. We can watch 3D movies. I love it. But that doesn't mean we watch movies every night. Okay.
But as we bought this house, it was also with a peace of mind, you guys. Okay. We had the passion of going platinum and only then investing into a house. Thanks to the mentorship of Ravi Rati. Not only could we buy a house, we could buy a house with peace of mind. And alongside, right around the same time, we also bought 2 new cars. All cash down.
All cash.
Except the home loan today, we don't have any other debt or loan in our on our head, and the home loan as well. In the next few years, we're absolutely on track to actually knock it off the park and be debt free.
Yeah, and these are the intangibles and the tangibles of building the business. Our kids are growing up in a beautiful environment, and they see their mom and dad hustling every day. When they grow up, they know that their parents, their mom and dad both were doing something for their future. They're not just seeing their mom and dad do what every other mom and dad is doing, what their friends' mom and dads are doing. They're seeing their mom step up, their dad step up. And that is what you want to do for your family. So, of course, we have not arrived in any way. We're excited to go Q12, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Diamond. And, but all I can say is it's a beautiful journey, guys. Life is so rich. Life is beautiful. Just build it with all your heart. Stay a purist and have purity in thoughts and action. In the end, we'll call the host to pull up a video. I'll pass it to Santosh, and then we'll have the host to pull up a video. It's just a short video with some snippets, some amazing memories that we've built with our business team, with our uplines, with our downlines, some places we've gone to and had fun with our uplines, as a part of some of the promotions that we had in the team, some stunning places. But we had a great time sharing with all of you. Okay, just stay steady, stay focused. It's going to be a beautiful journey. And I hope and pray that each one of you, once you have your why identified, you're able to achieve what you want out of this business. But with that, I am done. I'll pass it to Santosh.
Just remember, guys, it's not about if you finish the race first. It's about, are you still running, and are you running with the intention of hitting the finish line? It's not about how big you dream. It's about how long you dream big. Hopefully our story was able to impact some of you guys, and we definitely want to thank and cherish for you guys to giving us this opportunity to come here and share. Okay, with that, I'd request, of course, our tech host to please play the video. Thank you. Awesome.
Back to you.
Back to Suresh and Jhansi. Thank you so much, guys.
Wow, that was such an inspirational journey. We were completely immersed listening to your story and learning from those experiences. This is absolutely a blessing to have you guys here with the India team. And it's definitely our privilege to get a chance to host you both, Santosh and Shweta. Thank you so much. And definitely it has brought back all the fueled our dreams for sure, and really look how it helped us look at life in the right perspective, right? Developing the right perspectives, and the learnings from here are absolutely going to fuel the growth for this team. And Jhansi, you want to?
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing to see both of you, how you both are working together, united, and growing yourself and helping each other to grow and building the business. It's amazing to see your journey. Thank you so much, Santosh and Shweta, for sharing all your journey and all your learnings to the team. Thank you.
Yeah, and now what is the best way to go forward from here, right? The best way to maximize this, the learnings that we got, is putting them into action. So go back to your coaches and see how you can convert some of these learnings into action and build a massive growth. And look forward to seeing you all, post the excitement with all the growth this new fiscal year. And with that, we come to the end of the conference and see you back again.
Thank you.